Here.
Member Nancy Lugacy.
I'm here and my camera's off because it's like Grand Central at my house. So sorry, BJ. Thank you.
It's okay.
Member Rajwinder Kaur.
Present.
Member Elena Aminova. Member Elena Aminova. Member Cassandra Alexander. Member Cassandra Alexander. Member Shalitha Dean. Member Shalitha Dean. Member Simone Donbach.
I'm here.
Great.
Right.
Thank you so much, Natifa Lewis. And thank you, council members, for being here. And thank you for all those who put your cameras on. It's so great to see your faces. It's always a pleasure to see our community faces. It's so amazing, right? So we have a very, very good lineup tonight for all of you here tonight. And while our agenda doesn't have her on the agenda, we definitely want to acknowledge the high school. The heads up. I know you're under Evelyn Ruiz, but I know you are not Evelyn Ruiz. I know you're shooting Schneider. So thank you. So without further ado, I'd like to ask Dr. Pate to please take it over. Dr. Pate, go ahead for your report.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Can I just start by saying how amazing our legislative breakfast was? I am still on cloud 199. Our CEC, you showed up, you showed out. This was such a beautiful demonstration of community leadership, of our family engagement and leadership. And what a crowd, right? You drew so many, there was just so much, I don't know if you can call it power in a room, but there was just so much in one room, in one space, and it was just such a beautiful morning. We've been chewing on this. We've still been enjoying it days later. And Vijay, I'm telling you, there's been 100 requests. Oh, we have to do this again. And I dare say that our CEC will do this again. It was a tremendous success. Thank you for every kind word, everything that we experienced on that day. I do have a very short presentation. And this is, I got to tell you, this is something that I am very passionate about. I'm trying to spread the word and use every audience and every platform that is available to us to talk about something that our district needs. And so if you will allow me to share, I am going to, it's very short. I think it's maybe 8 slides, but I hope to get the point across. Can you all hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes,
Loud and clear. Perfect. So I just want to share a little something with you all today. Some of our school leaders are here. They know what I'm going to talk about. And so, you know, if you feel compelled to just give a woo woo in the chat, I would appreciate it, because this is really something that we are passionate about here. So April is Autism Acceptance Month, and it was previously called Autism Awareness Month. But the name changed, as it should, because I believe that it's about celebrating and promoting acceptance. Current data says from the 2020 census, not a census, but a report of federal students with individual education plans shows that 1 in every 54 child has autism. And autism is a complex kind of developmental condition, right? We try to simplify things because we want to make it handy. We want people to understand. But sometimes if you make things too simple, we hurt the cause, we hurt the problem, right? The challenge. So it's a complex developmental conditioning, and it affects students' ability to interact, to communicate, to progress. And it has a lot of subtypes, right? So autism is the fastest growing developmental disability in the world. I have a challenge. I mean, this is taken from advancingmilestones.com. I'm going to to always challenge disability, that word, that concept. I'm always going to challenge that. Having had children in this system who had IEPs, had diagnoses, and the work I had to do as a parent to, one, to have my voice respected, and then my desire for my children respected, that was a really steep climb, and it was a very rocky road. And I can tell you that more than once I cried after a meeting because I did not feel always heard. I did not feel seen, and definitely I felt like my child was not seen. A little sort of map, a timeline on the Autism Awareness Month. That celebration, starting with brain studies in 1976, going to studying brain tissue and really trying to get in and understand causal, like how autism comes about. Some of it is genetic, and other things, something as simple as, you know, and this is science, video games and television, right? And then in 1999, the Autism Awareness Ribbon, that's that puzzle piece that you see there, was adopted as the universal sign for autism awareness. And finally, we moved to acceptance. March 4th, the Autism Society of America decided we needed to change the name and move it from just accepting, which feels a little like it's a problem, right, to awareness and celebration. Why autism, right? Why is it so important? It's 3 big points. It's the fastest growing developmental disorder in this current time. I said before, some of it is genetic. Some of it is triggered by external exposure to heavy metals, to antibiotics, to chemicals and drugs and things of that nature. Autism has to be accepted with love. We forget sometimes that when we're talking about equity, we forget cognitive equity, we forget emotional, social-emotional equity. All of those things have to be put into this beautiful puzzle of equity advocacy. In this district, we are really focused on equity as a lever to ensure that every one of our students succeed. We cannot forget cognitive, emotional equity. And then early intervention helps dealing with autism. If we know this, I know this as a parent of 2 children who had IEPs, that the earlier I started intervention, the more successful they were along the line, right? So what is true for any student with exceptional characteristics, the earlier we start to think about it, the better. And there's a big point coming in this conversation. I'm already 4 slides in. We often hear on the spectrum. And so I thought I'd just give you a quick definition of what that means as it relates to autism. And so on the spectrum is generally used, like it's widespread use, and essentially means that the child falls somewhere on the spectrum of autism. But autism has a really broad spectrum. Classic autism makes up about 20% of people who are diagnosed with autism. The other 80% is considered not severe, milder variants, such as Asperger syndrome, high functioning autism, PD-NOS, or atypical autism. So 20% is classic autism. The 80% are considered mild variants of autism. And you would be surprised. Remember, autism diagnoses as sort of like a popular practice now has only been around maybe 30 years. So some of us who are older may very well, you know how you see someone, they're like, oh, they're quirky. This may or may not have been a person who could have had a milder variant. And I'm not saying that quirky people, because I'm very quirky, that quirky people are also autistic. But what I'm saying is that we didn't have the testing capacity and recognizing in order to support folk as they grew in our educational system and matured. Of course, we're going to stop that. So in New York City Department of Education, there are 2 versions of school settings for students who are autistic. It's the ASD Nest program, and it's the ASD Horizon program. And I know this is a lot of text, but I wanted to give you a side-by-side sort of look at both of those programs and look at sort of the characteristics for each student. ASD Nest student classification is eligible for educational disability classification. That is true also for Horizon, a typical Horizon student. Intelligence for ASD Nest, above to average or to above intelligence, and a Horizon student is average to below average. Achievement for an ASD Nest typical student, they are above grade level. Language and communication may lag, may not. For achievement of a Horizon student, maybe at or slightly below. I don't want to read every piece of this, but I just want you to see sort of Horizon Nest behaviors, some mild behavioral challenges. The student is not physically aggressive. Horizon student is typically also have mild to moderate behavioral difficulties. The student is not physically aggressive. Those are just some of the criteria for students being admitted into New York City's ASD Nest program or ASD Horizon program. There's a lot of information. Why am I telling you this? On the left, you'll see a screenshot of our student services that we provide students with IEPs. That is a list of the classifications and diagnoses and the percentages. You'll see I highlighted with the blue circle the autism classification. Currently, we have 185 students with autism in our district. 155 of them are served across our majority elementary schools, but some in our middle schools. 19 are partially served, which means all of their needs could not be met, and 11 are served outside of our district. There is a tremendous opportunity for us to serve our scholars with autism in this district. Why? There is not a single autism program, ASD Nest or Horizon, in District 28. We have been campaigning. We are talking to everyone, and I'm talking to you tonight. What's the big deal in terms of peer group? Well, Greater Good in Education, their 2022 platform says that peer acceptance relates positively to GPA in middle school. In fact, research shows that positive peer relationships can explain up to 40% of adolescents' academic achievement. So we know that a positive association, being with students who have similar gifts and challenges, can help students to achieve at higher levels academically. And Dr. Kenneth Dunn said, if children do not learn the way we teach them, then we must teach them the way they learn, right? It's time out for one-stop shop. For our scholars in District 28, we have no energy, no time, no patience for the one-stop shop. Every child deserves a special and appointed seat in District 28. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm just here to talk to you about it. We need an ASD Nest or Horizon program in District 28. We partner with NYU Steinhardt for our ASD Nest, ASD Horizon programs in New York City. And that's a graphic of the number of students that we have in the Nest programs, the number of classrooms across the city of New York, and the number of schools that are identified, right? That number 59. Anybody in here knows how many schools approximately there are in New York City Department of Education? I don't know if you're going to put it into the chat. Anybody know approximate number of how many schools we have? We have approximately 1,700 schools in New York City Department of Education. So while that number might have looked big in isolation, when you think about only 59 schools offering Nest or Horizon programs, you know that there are a tremendous amount of our children who are not being served in the best setting possible. We need an ASD Nest or Horizon program in District 28. I also put some resources here. I downloaded all of these from various sites, and they're here. You can download a PDF if you're an adult who think you may have autism, if you're a sibling, if you are a parent, and then the Department of Education's Nest programs. There's a lot of valuable information there. I put the websites, and of course, I'm going to share this with our CEC so they can post it on the website. But more importantly, I just want to say to everyone, like, every child has to matter. Every child has to matter. Every child has to matter. And we have to be ferocious in advocating for the needs of every single one of our children. Our district, we talk, we're good about securing the best placement and really advocating for very specific groups of children. We cannot forget our children with challenge. They say disability, right? Other gifts, alternate gifts, right? We cannot forget our children. And an ASD Nest or Horizon program is a beautiful opportunity for this district to bring our scholars back, those who are being served outside of our district, parents who have to get in their cars and drive to District 25 or wherever they're going in the morning. We don't want that. So I ask you to just partner with me and just getting this word out, get the word out, get the word out, get the word out, that we are looking for an ASD Nest program. I am saying it to every person who talks to me. I had another meeting with our district planning committee this week, and we're hammering it home. They're like, all right, Dr. Pate, you just, yep. But the squeaky wheel, right? You got to keep making the noise. You got to keep making the noise so that we can serve all of our children. So thank you for this moment, Vijay. I appreciate the opportunity for the mic every single time. You'll hear me say this every single time. I don't ever take it for granted that I get an opportunity to speak. So, and that is me saying to you, don't take for granted when you have the opportunity to speak, right? So thank you so very much for this time.
Thank you, Dr. Pate. And for those of you who don't know, Dr. Pate is our yes, let's give her applause. Like they get the hat with the things coming off. The emojis are nice. The reaction buttons just used, and there's cards, and there is. We had to find ways to really, make this interesting. Make it interesting and fun for all of us. So Dr. Pate is our community superintendent. She came in at a time when we needed someone to lead with heart in this district right before the pandemic started. And I tell you, we were blessed to have her as our leader during this time until now. And you hear the passion, right? That she's fighting for things that has been lost long time, not been brought up. And Dr. Pate, you have a partner here, and together with the CEC, I'll bring this up with the council today at our business meeting, how we can partner and maybe doing a resolution or something. We could do something to really emphasize and send this point home to those who need to hear it. But we thank you. We appreciate you. We value you, and you are one of a kind. Thank you so much. My report really quickly before we'll pass it over to Ms. Cynthia Schneider, who will be going next. Thank you so much to all of you who helped put together the Principals Legislative Breakfast. I want to first acknowledge our amazing CEC D28 new administrative assistant. Her name is Dorinda C. Mungle. Dorinda, can you please unmute and say hi really quickly?
Hello, everyone.
She did exactly that. Hi, everyone. Okay, so fine. Dorinda is the one who you have all been getting emails from. And she put up with me all the month. Like, said it again. Make sure this person knows. Make sure that person knows. Because we want to make sure everyone is aware of this inaugural breakfast. Why did we do this, right? Why did we do this? For the past couple of years that I've been, president of this council, the history of this council, we have never had such a breakfast where we create space for our principals and our parent coordinators and those who are equally, involved in educating our children. But more importantly, too, to include on that table, those who have the finances, the money to make a difference, our elected officials. Because we can sit down here and tell each other what the problems are. That's great. But if you don't have the ones who invest the money in this, because government is by the people for the people. So we have to let the government know who we put in office, what we need. And if we don't secure that space, then we don't get what they think we need, when we need it, and how we need it. So this breakfast serves as a platform for us to rebuild bridges. And I'm proud to say that one thing that happened really first and foremost on the day of the breakfast, we secured Wi-Fi for the district office. Right there and then, but the borough president, right? Yes, that deserves an applause. I'll put an emoji up. There it is. Applause. There it is. Yes. At the breakfast, we asked and we put forth the notice to the borough president, Donovan Richards, and said, how can we function in 2022 in a pandemic, in an endemic, whatever it is, without Wi-Fi at the central heart of the district? It's unheard. This is wrong. And right there, and then he said, VJ, consider it done. Beautiful. If the squeaky wheel, right? We gotta speak up. We gotta keep doing what we do. And Dr. Pate, I'm happy that we get this next step, and we have to keep working more and more with this council to make more things happen, right? One of the priorities that we spoke about at the breakfast was, how could our aides be on food stamps? There's nothing wrong with food stamps, but why is our school aides and our PCs, the wages that they make is come on. And we expect them to be equal partners, collaborators in our school settings. No, we have to do better. We got to take care of those who are taking care of ours, right? So we're going to do what we have to do with the elected officials to make sure that the staff in the schools are taken care of as much as we can. The breakfast was a success. The entire council, thank you all so much for working hard and working diligently. I want to thank the two committee members who was part of the planning for this, Ms. Natifa Lewis and Ms. Leda Amanova, who worked very hard together with myself, and our face liaison, Bibi Matadin. We had to pull a lot of strings, a lot of things together, quick to get things in order. But guess what? When there's a will, there is a way. And you better believe it. It was an amazing, successful first breakfast. Now I know what Mr. Zivon looks like. I see his face now. I saw a whole bunch of the parent coordinators that day, and it was amazing to see all of your wonderful faces. We will continue this successful path in the future. Thank you so much. To Sonia Rueda, who was there that day, you made everyone cry that day at the breakfast because of your leadership, because we love you, Sonia, and we thank you for your work that you continue to do in this district. I wish we could do more, but we value you. And to everyone else, thank you, and thank you. Without further ado, I would like to ask, can we please make Ms. Cynthia Schneider a co-host so she can unmute and then she can bring greetings. Is she here? I thought she was here before.
VJ, Superintendent Schneider was here. She had to step away.
Okay.
Hopefully she will be back.
That's fine.
And I am here with you as always to talk about the work of the high schools.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So you can do that right now. I'll give you a few minutes, Stephen. Also, if anyone wants to speak or make a comment later on, please put the word speak in the comment section in the chat, and then we'll call you in the order in which you were. You put the name speak so you can make your comments and you can ask your questions, etc. later on. Mr. Chervanov, I'll give you a few minutes. If you can bring any updates from the high school side, please go ahead.
Sure, I have a deck. Can you make me a host?
Yes.
So I can share, please.
Host, can you please make Mr. Chervanov a co-host, please?
All right, let's see if this works.
Yes, no? It's happening.
You just co-host, VJ.
You are co-host. Yes, it says you are. So you should be able to share.
I don't know. I'm having trouble with my screen here.
Okay, so you figure it out. In the meantime,
I apologize.
That's totally fine. I'll bring on our next presenter, so that way we keep the meeting going. Yeah. So we are elated and we are so happy to have the amazing principals of our district, always one by one coming on board to present about their school, about their passion and their work. And today we are so fortunate and blessed to have with us the amazing Dr. Emanuela Remy, the principal of Jamaica Children's School PS 312, and she will go ahead and present at this time. Please let's give her an emoji and let's welcome her, please. Yes, welcome. There you go.
Thank you so much for inviting me to present about our wonderful school, Jamaica Children's School. I'm truly proud to be the principal of this school, and I encourage everyone to come and visit the school, whether virtually or in person. So I'm going to share. Does everybody see my screen? Okay, awesome.
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome, okay. So I'm going to find the slideshow mode. Okay, so Welcome to Jamaica Children's School. We are a K-5 school located in South Jamaica, Queens. We are known as the Jaguars, and that is our mascot, Jiggy, just laying on the top of our thing there. We're very heavy on Instagram at We Are JCS, and also on Twitter at JCS312Q. And feel free to visit our website. It is up to date with everything that you need to know about JCS. So every day at JCS, our scholars are learning, or as we call them, our Jaguars. They're learning in gym, they're learning virtually, well, not virtually anymore, but like they're learning on iPads, they're learning on tablets. They are running their morning meetings, which is called our tea time. So every day on the schedule, there's 23 minutes allotted for the students to engage in tea time, which is where they focus on their social emotional learning. By the month of November, the students were running their own tea time, where the teachers are just there participating. So that's what our students do every single day. We also take note of our work. The students work so hard on their different tasks that they do, and we take time to acknowledge them on their tasks, and we also have them acknowledge themselves. So on the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see them taking a look at their work on the bulletin board. It's something so small, but yet so powerful for them to see their work on the board and displayed. We have our amazing student government on the bottom left-hand side. They run our school store. I'm going to go a little bit further into them later on. But on this particular day, they were selling the class dojo points. The students were turning their dojo points in to get prizes. So far, I think I have maybe 5 students that want to be principal for a day. So next time they'll run this meeting at the CEC and present on Jamaica Children's School. So every morning, I told you we have morning announcements at 8:30. Our school comes together on a Zoom. So it is our makeshift way of having a broadcasting station. So we wanted to continue using Zoom, and this is the best way for the whole school to get together to talk about the important messages of the day. So on there, the students lead it, important reminders, the mantra, our events of the week, our instructional absolutes are stated to them every day, and then they share information on the state of the month. And each class gets a turn twice a year so that they can head the morning announcement. So the teachers or the students of the class actually select the 2 students or the 1 student to go and present the morning announcements. We also have Family Fun Friday, which is also on our Zoom, on the Zoom platform. Every Friday at 1:55, the school community comes together, families log in, and we celebrate our Jaguars. So we also share important reminders. They play games together. They learn about different topics. They practice different SEL strategies. We celebrate our students who are passion students of the month, or students who are top attendance, or any highlights of the week are celebrated at Family Fun Friday, and the families just get to learn a little bit more about us. Our countries and the states of the month. So each month there's a different country, a different state, and also a different country. For each grade is assigned a country and they present. Right now we're on grade 5 and they're presenting every week on Bolivia. Previous to that, we had different different countries that were presented. So we started it off with Mexico, then we went off into Egypt, and then Israel, and then Italy, and then Japan, and now we're in Bolivia. In the end of May or the beginning of June, we're going to have what is called a diaspora, where the students are going to come together of their grade and they're going to rebuild different landmarks from these countries. So you may walk past our schoolyard and see a giant leaning Tower of Pisa from our 3rd grade students. So that is something that we're going to celebrate at the end of the school year. We have Spirit Week. So far we've had 2 or 3 different Spirit Weeks where students get to dress up and just bring some little fun to the learning. Here we have Pajama Day. We have where they're like fashionable, like very shiny glitz and glamour day. So the kids dress up and they talk about these different things, especially during their tea time. We had a state test pep rally because this is the first state test that many of our scholars took, because believe it or not, in grades 3 to 5, many of them, about 90% of them, this was their very first state test. And so our K-2 students were encouraging our students because they made posters and messages for them. In class, the students brought in a blank t-shirt that other students wrote affirmations on, and they got to wear those affirmations on the day of the state test. And they also put these messages up around the school. So wherever the students went, they saw an affirmation that you can do it for the state test. Respect for All Week, the students, they had opportunity to bring fun and celebrate. They learned, there were different videos and activities to ground the students in the work of respect for each other, which is something that we very much so value at Jamaica Children's School. So we got putting bullying to bed for Pajama Day, teaming up against bullying for Jersey Day, bullying, standing up to bullying is no sweat for on one of those days. And I'm trying to remember what this, No One Eats Alone Day was, is the yellow one, where the students all dressed together and they actually all ate together because the entire school got pizza. Embracing our cultures and holiday celebrations. So we had fall festivals, winter festivals. You can see different aspects where the kids dress up. They celebrate different cultures. They learn about different cultures. They do presentations. They were singing and dancing and caroling all throughout. You can see over here that they turned into leprechauns for St. Patrick's Day. So we celebrate all the different holidays at Jamaica Children's School. And then our wonderful student government, led by our student president right here, who's in the 4th grade, they create activities for our students, manage the JCS school store. One event that they're doing now is a popcorn fundraiser, where they're doing everything virtually. And so far, I think we're up to about $1,000 or $1,500 that they are running themselves. And other pride that we have at JCS is at the beginning of the year, we had the homecoming. We had a commitment ceremony to start the year off, where students, families, and teachers commit to the success of the students of our Jaguars throughout the school year. Most recently, we had on March 24th, we had our JCS Honor Society, where we inducted 28 students who had level 4s in math, ELA, math and ELA, or math or ELA. And we also are partners with, Reading for America with Scholastic, and our students get their books and they're super excited each month to get a book that they can read with each other or to their families. And that, in a nutshell, is Jamaica Children's School. Any questions?
Thank you so much. So we'll leave the questions for the ending part. So when we'll give everyone a chance to ask a question in the public comment section. Thank you so much. So colorful, so bright, and so fresh. I appreciate you being here and sharing with our families your school and the wonderful work you do. Thank you for being here, and come back again next cycle and let us know what's happening. So we're going to have the screens, the high school superintendent now speak for a few minutes. I'm going to be asking everyone to please make sure we keep the presentations to 5 minutes or less, just to make sure we have enough time. Then we will be also having our budget director, the 28 budget director, Naomi Alexander, who will be presenting very shortly. Go ahead.
PJ, I'm sorry, may I just make a quick announcement for a Spanish-speaking parent that's here? It'll
Yes,
very
Sonia.
quickly.
Pardon me, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sure. Buenas noches, yo creo que hay aquí alguien que habla español, la señora María. Si ya recibí su información, yo me voy a comunicar con usted y darle la información que se está compartiendo esta noche en la reunión. Por favor, le voy a poner el correo electrónico en el chat para que la próxima vez usted pueda pedir la traducción por adelantado para que ellos sepan cuáles son los padres que necesitan y poder estar preparados. Entonces, disculpe por esta noche, pero yo me voy a comunicar con usted y le voy a dar toda la información que usted necesita. Muchas gracias.
Okay, good evening. Can you hear me? And can you see the slides?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Thank you, Sonia.
Great. Thank you, Sonia. And thank you, VJ. And good evening, everyone. It's great to be here. It was wonderful to see you at the breakfast the other day. It was really a beautiful event, and to see everyone together again in person, I was really honored to be there. So thank you for having me. Welcome back to District 28 High Schools. Here is our theory of action. And our goals, they're a little small, but we have goals around equity and increased student achievement, around increased academic performance in all content areas. And we are CRSE focused in aligning curriculum. And we are very much pushing distributive leadership by principals through our instructional leadership teams. And like what we're doing here, having a strong partnership with the Queens South community. These are our schools, their logos. I'm sure you're familiar with them. And so we have, our focus this month is on special ed students, students with disabilities and ELs. In our District 28 high schools, we have over almost 1,500 students with IEPs. And most of those are learning disability, and then a nice chunk are speech or language impairment. And then the other largest group is what's called other health impairment, which is something that's not categorized into one of the official categories. Often that's for mandated counseling or for something else that's rare. And the remaining students are in one of the 8 other classifications. So District 28 high schools make up the highest performing district in our portfolio with respect to provision of special education mandates. And overall, as far as percent of students fully receiving program services, we're at 90.5%. We want to be at 100% for every single one of these, and we are getting there. But we are above the citywide average in all of these metrics. So 90.5% for fully receiving program services, 95.4% that their program recommendations are linked in STARS. That's where CECIS and STARS. STARS is the programming program that high schools use. So CECIS and STARS have to talk to each other. And we are above the citywide average for that, and we are well above the citywide average for related service mandates being encountered, fully encountered, 95.8%. Again, we are always working towards 100%, and we work closely with the schools and with our partners at the BCO. The schools do the work, the BCO supports them, we oversee it, but we push and motivate where we can. And the schools are very willing and want to serve all of their students. As far as compliance, we've improved since week 5 of the school year through Tuesday. We've improved nearly 20% as far as fully receiving services, and we've improved again in the linkage between CECIS and STARS. And for program related services, there's no weekly report that we get, but as we saw on the previous slide, we're at 95.8%. And the 3 highest performing high schools in District 28 are Thomas Edison, Jamaica Gateway, and Forest Hills High School, where I just was there for the day. Had a wonderful day with Principal Paul Wilbur. And those 3 schools have over 97% of students fully receiving their services. And we have 2 or 3 other schools that are well over 90%. Some updates on the SEL screener. Here's some information. The window for the next screener administration is coming up May 3rd to June 9th. And I suppose the last bullet is of most interest to the parents, that schools are encouraged to communicate with families who opted out previously to see if they'd like to opt in. We would like to get all students assessed in the spring, and hopefully there will be progress, and hopefully students are feeling in a better place with their emotional health and with their social interactions with other students and with adults. This is a little bit of a strange data slide. You know, the bottom row says the percent of students in need of small group or individual strategies. Almost every school is over 90%. So that just seems a lot. We know there are kids who are in need and we take it seriously. I wonder if staff perhaps, you know, being very conservative in how they approach the students, recommended many students for services. And if they need it, we will give it to them. And the schools are ready, willing, and able to provide that. But some of these data points seem high. So we're going to revisit this data in the next week or two. And then we'll see what the data says for the next window. Then continuing our highlight on equity, one of our spotlight schools is HALA, Hillside Arts and Letters Academy. And this slide talks about the bar graph, and the numbers below are the graduation rates. So they had, and I'm glad I'm wearing my glasses, 96% graduation rate in June of 2021. Well, actually probably August of 2021. And then 95% of the L's graduated. So, you know, they are a school that really pays close attention to equity and making students feel comfortable. I know Ms. Lewis's child, or is it one or two children that Ms. Lewis has in the school? Ms. Williams has, I think, 2 children in the school you announced the other morning. So it's a wonderful school. Principal Raquel Nolasco, she's doing a great job and really is very focused on equity. Continuing along for our L's, the school does a lot to support L's and providing professional development for teachers and resources for the L's and all kinds of things. They have a whole thing where they establish a partnership with an immigration attorney, and they are providing workshops for families that are undocumented. It's incredible. It's an amazing thing that they are actually providing legal advice to families that are undocumented so that they can become documented and be here and feel safe and secure in our country and our city and integrate into our society and be productive citizens, as we know they already are. And that's what gets lost. They already are productive and contributing and good people in the community. And so the school has this program with immigration lawyers. It's incredible to think about. Let's continue along. Oh, there's a video, right? I hope we have time, VJ. It's less than 2 minutes. Here it goes.
Please, as soon as we can, we just want to keep it the time with all the presenters, please. Thank you.
I'm sorry?
Just want to make sure we stay within 5 minutes of our presenting time. I'll appreciate that, please. Okay.
Okay. So we'll skip the video and we'll move it along. It's a nice. They have a nice cookbook project. Let's see. Move on. Yeah. That actually we have a few more slides, real quick. Providing services for students with disabilities. We talked about that before. And then, okay, this is the District 28 graduation rate for our schools for students with disabilities, comparing, I believe, right, 2020 to 21, and increases for all the schools. So, and you know, fairly high graduation rates, all things considered, but we will not be satisfied until 100% of our students graduate, and certainly 100% of our students with disabilities and L's graduate. So we remain focused on that. And I spend a lot of time looking at the special education data and working with schools. And, you know, a few of them, not in District 28, but a few of them have to get a phone call or an email from me. And so have to play the bad guy sometimes, but that's the job. Another metric we have focused on quite a bit is the CCPCI, the College and Career Preparatory Course Index. This is for the index that measures the high-level advanced courses that schools are offering. And this has been a major initiative by the district over the last few years to offer more high-level courses, advanced placement, college now, college courses offered through CUNY where a DOE teacher teaches the course. We have schools where that happens. And again, the difference between cohort V and cohort W, that's 2020 and 2021. And again, high numbers, right? But increases for all of the schools. And we're going to continue to push that hard. That's a huge metric to offer high-level courses to make students college and career ready. And we are rightly very proud of that. Proud of the improvements in all of our schools in all three districts. There have been many great things. Thomas Edison hosted a 4-star general for their new cybersecurity program. One of, I think, only 12 schools in the country that has it. A lot of schools want to open it. They are on the way and they are doing it. You probably heard about that already. And just, you know, a few other highlights and slides. AP Capstone becoming very popular. There is a research component. There is a seminar component. I've seen students present the results of their research. You talk about college readiness. This is a sequence of courses that really prepare students for rigorous reading, research, discussion, presentation to their peers. It's really a great program. And our AP for All coordinator is Dr. Lyndon Charles. He's doing a wonderful job. And yeah, we have with NIMSI, National Math and Science Initiative. And oh, here's a good metric. Here, it's not a metric, but it's a great accomplishment. Queens Metropolitan High School. Look at the first bullet. 10 of our students were accepted to PASE and offered $660,000 in academic scholarships from St. Joseph's College. 2 of our students won the PASE scholarship this year, and they were offered $400,000 in scholarships. So a lot of good stuff going on in our District 28 schools. And I think that's the last slide. So I want to wish all of you a happy Easter or Ramadan or Passover, if you celebrate any of those, and a wonderful vacation, a wonderful month to all of our school staff. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chernoff. I know it's a lot to give in 5 minutes, but you did it. You sure did it. Thank you so much for being here and presenting to us. You know, a lot of our kids feed into the high schools. We have schools also that has, you know, our middle school children also. And if you can stick around for a few, I'm sure there may be questions later on that you could answer. We'll really appreciate it. And also good seeing you at the breakfast. We are partners. Thank you. Thank you. Moving right along, my dear friends, Sonia, I'm going to ask you to bring updates. Anything you want to give updates in the district, please go for it. You should be able to, there it is, go for it.
Yes, good evening, buenas noches. Just a couple of things that I want to mention. The survey, the New York City survey was extended to April 15th. I know last month I got a lot of private messages and asking what's the purpose of the survey, how many surveys are we filling out? Lots of surveys, right? Because that's the truth. We get surveys all over the place, but the reality is that this survey in particular, just like the biennial reverse survey for SLTs, we get the information here at District 28. And I can speak for our district. We look at the numbers, we look at the responses. We take that serious. What are your concerns? What would you like? And how can we support your school and you? And whatever your needs are. So please fill out the survey. If we don't know what the concerns are, we can't help you, right? We can't support you. So please, that's April 15th. I'll say that in Spanish. El 15 de abril, para ustedes que están aquí de habla español, es la encuesta escolar de la ciudad. Por favor, tienen hasta el 15 de abril para que llenen la encuesta. Muy importante, su voz, su voto. Necesitamos saber cuáles son sus necesidades, sus inquietudes, y la única manera que los podemos apoyar es ustedes llenan esa encuesta. The other thing that's very, very important, very at the forefront is of parent voice is elections and parent leadership. We are struggling across the city to get parents to volunteer. And I understand because I did this role myself as a parent leader. There's a lot going on, but besides the fact that you have to have certain parent leadership in place, right? We need to hear from you. Your school needs you. It includes budget decisions, right? With SLT, you can't have those conversations if you don't have a president. You need a secretary, you need a treasurer, you need to have representation if you're a Title I school. And so the only way we can do this if we have you as parents. So please consider running for any of the positions. We just did training for nominations and elections. We will do it again. We will do it in English and Spanish. We've done it in the morning. We've done it in the evening, whatever it is that you need so that we can answer your questions. And just because you have a question doesn't mean you have to run, but we will try and engage you, right? If you're asking questions, but we just want you to be involved and take advantage of this opportunity. Lo último que quiero decirles es las elecciones, por favor, no necesitan hablar inglés. Lo único que se necesita es que usted sea padre de familia, que sea la persona legal, que tenga custodia del niño, la niña, solo eso, que tenga el interés y la voluntad y nosotros le damos todo lo otro, el entrenamiento, le contestamos la pregunta, pero es importante que ustedes tengan voz y voto en todos los niveles, en la asociación de padres, en el equipo de liderazgo escolar y también si usted es título 1, hay dinero de por medio que no se puede gastar si ustedes no están ahí en la mesa haciendo sugerencias y tomando decisiones. Por favor, yo voy a poner mi número en la información en el chat. Mi nombre es Sonia Rueda y estoy aquí para apoyarlos. One final thing, there's money involved in these decisions and these conversations, so please, other than being a parent and a legal guardian, that's all we're asking. We provide everything else. So please, even if you're intrigued, ask me. I'll put my information in the chat. Again, my name is Sonia Rueda, and your parent surveys. Please, we want to hear from you. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Sonia, for being here, for always delivering more than your services. She's doing Spanish and English tonight. Thank you, Sonia. We'll do a much better job in making sure we have a Spanish interpreter at our meetings going forward. Thank you again. Next, we'll have Naomi Alexander, who's our District 28 Budget Director, and she'll present at this time. Naomi?
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me?
Loud and clear, yes.
Okay, great. So I'm going to share my screen. I apologize in advance. I had some technical difficulties. I'm in the office and the computer I had to switch to. The camera doesn't work, but the microphone works. And the other camera I could hear, but I couldn't speak into it. So I do apologize. Tonight we're just going to have a little overview about school budgets and the funding that schools receive. I'm sorry. Is everybody able to see the PowerPoint?
Yes,
on
we
the
can.
screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for being here. And I hope that everyone and their families are doing well, given the state of everything. And like I said, we're just going to go over the school budgets, where funding comes from, how it's distributed, and things of that nature. So it's just a basic overview of the school budgets. Okay. So the DOE is funded by city, state, and federal dollars, which combine to support our roughly $38 billion budget. New York City provides most of our funding for the 2021-2022 school year. The city will contribute $19.5 billion, which is about 51% of our total budget. Most of our funding from the city comes from what we call city tax levy dollars. City tax levy funds are drawn from local taxes, and that includes property taxes, sales taxes, and personal income taxes. So every year, the mayor proposes the amount of city tax levy funding we receive, and the city council must pass the budget into law. New York State is one of our second largest sources of funding. The state will contributed $12.8 billion, which is roughly 34% of our total budget. And the state gets its funding mainly from income and sales taxes. Every year, the governor proposes the amount of state funding that we will receive, mainly based on the number and types of students enrolled in our schools. And then the state legislator, passes the budget into law. The federal government now is our third largest source of funding. And for this school year, the federal government contributed about 5.3 billion, which is 14% of our total budget. The federal government gets its funding mainly from our income taxes. So every year, Congress again proposes a budget and the president must sign the budget into law. The Every Student Succeeds Act, known as ESSA, provides the rules for allocating most of the federal funding we receive. And in addition, the DOE has received federal stimulus funding from FY22 through FY 2025, which we'll discuss a little bit later on in the presentation. So now we want to know, where does this money go, right? Because about $38 billion is a large sum of money. So the $38 billion budget provides for the daily instruction and the support of over 1 million students every day. So the largest share of the budget, which is about 50%, supports district school budgets. And those are allocations directly to schools. This includes all dollars given directly to district schools, in addition to associated fringe and pension costs, under the oversight of principals and superintendents. School budgets are used for all instructional expenses at the DOE, and 19 billion in school budgets pay for the costs that include salaries and benefits for classroom teachers, classroom paraprofessionals, principals, assistant principals, deans, and other classroom and school-based staff. Funding for textbooks are also included, computers, materials, and supplies, etc. Non-instructional costs make up about 13%. So that funding supports food, transportation, and any debt payments. This pays for like non-instructional services that students receive, but are managed outside of the school's budget. And the $5 billion is used to pay for costs that include free breakfast and lunch, which is available to all students, bus routes, and loan payments on buildings. And that also includes any construction costs and renovations, and can be considered something similar to mortgage payments. Non-district schools comprise 17% of the budget. Non-district schools are charters, non-public schools, and students with disabilities attending specialized non-DOE schools. This covers schools and programs that educate NYC students, but are not directly run by the New York City Department of Education. So this $6 billion includes tuition payments to early childhood centers for pre-K and 3K, charter schools, students with disabilities, as we stated, and supplemental services to students attending non-public schools. Student support costs, which make up about 20% of the budget, include custodial services, facility maintenance, and central academic supports. This $8 billion covers the administrative costs and instructional spending outside of school budgets. So this funding basically pays for custodial and facility needs, school safety agents that are in each school building, and any academic support costs. So here we have the vast majority of instructional costs are allocated directly to school budgets. So as you can see here, funds allocated to schools are under the responsibility of the principal. However, the principal, along with the SLT teams, create the CEP, which is the Comprehensive Educational Plan, and that is based on school-specific instructional needs and priorities. So principals work with their SLT teams to create the school budgets and to pay for the instructional program that's detailed in the CEP. Superintendents, however, supervise the principal in this process and must approve all of the school budgets and their alignment with the school CEP. So how do we allocate money to schools? Of the $18 billion allocated to schools, $10 billion is allocated through FSF, which is Fair Student Funding, and we will go into that in detail in the next slides. And an additional $8 billion in federal, state, and local funding are distributed to schools through school allocation memorandums, which are known as SAMs. Fair student funding, the majority of school budgets are allocated through fair student funding, which moving forward, I will just say FSF. So under FSF, we create a school's budget based on the individual needs of each student enrolled there. Each school's fair student funding allocation is calculated based on the number of students enrolled at each school and the specific needs of those students. Pupil needs are weighted based on the cost of meeting those educational needs. This budgeting method is called a weighted pupil funded model. Then we have non-FSF allocations. Not all school funding is allocated through FSF. Some school funding, including our large federal grant programs, such as Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IV, are allocated directly to schools outside of SSS. So those are considered our reimbursable funds. Those are grant funding that usually have strings attached to them and can't be used as flexibly as fair student funding. The DOE has approximately 100 separate allocations to schools, each of which is accompanied by a school allocation memorandum. The scope of these SAMs can be broad and their value may vary. One SAM might go towards hiring a new teacher or social worker, while another SAM could establish a new summer school or pay for computer maintenance. The written description in each SAM provides information about the background of the funds, their purpose, their source, and how they should be used. You can find a full list of SAMs online on the DOE's info hub, excuse me, apologize. So FSF provides for each school's primary instructional program and services. Over 90% of FSF supports classroom staff and instructional supports for students. So some of these supports are, classroom teachers, including your cluster teachers with like your art and gym, teacher absence coverage, after school programs, school leadership, pupil support, administrative support, and your OTPS, which is other than personnel, supplies and materials. Services funded outside of FSF include mandated individual education plans, which are your IEPs, related services, and IEP paraprofessionals, right? So this also can be your speech teachers, occupational therapists, physical therapists. Certain specialized programs, such as instructional models specialized for students with autism, pre-K and 3K programs at school districts, charter schools, and D75 schools. So fair student funding weights. As I stated in the previous slide, the funding that's allocated to schools are based on funding weights. So this slide shows a breakdown of the different categories of the weights and how they are distributed based on the attributes of the child. These are the proposed weights to determine FSF funding for the FY23 school year. Each school will be funded based on their student population. Individual students may be funded by multiple weights, depending on each student's needs. As a part of your feedback, we hope to hear back your input. No changes have been made to the formula weights since 2016-17 school year. So each school receives a foundation of $225,000. The remainder of the FSF funding is based on student characteristics and their respective weights, in addition to funding for collective bargaining related to costs. For 2020/2021 school year, the base weight of 1 was equal to approximately $4,220 per capita. This per capita is adjusted annually to reflect changes to the citywide average teacher salary. The basic grade weight is allocated to schools for all students on their audited register and is aligned to instructional requirements by student grade level with distinct weights for grades K to 5, 6 to 8, and 9 to 12. So elementary, middle, and high school. Funding for academic intervention is determined by student academic performance when they enter a school, with poverty funding schools beginning in pre-testing grades. Funding for special education is determined by the percentage of time students spend receiving special education services. So one weight for students receiving services for less than 20% of their week, and another weight for students receiving part-time services for up to 59% of their week. And the remaining full-time weights, depending on the student's grade level and their primary instructional model of special class or ICT services, which is integrated co-teaching. Supplemental funding supporting former IEP students in their first year of declassification will continue to support IEP declassification services through the post-IEP transitional support weight. Just please note that the names of special education weights may change before the formulas go in to PEP for approval. Student eligibility and funding will remain unchanged. Then we have funding for English language learners, which is allocated based on student grade level, reflecting the mandated instructional services. So bilingual versus ENL only, weights for former Ls who have achieved proficiency within the past 2 years, Ls with students with interrupted formal education status will receive their respective L weight in addition to the SIFE weight, which is the student interrupted formal education weight. Supplemental per capita funding is allocated for portfolio high schools to support their unique instruction models. So as you can see here, you can see the different, with the breakdowns, the academic intervention, the English language learners, and to the right of each category, you have the weighted amounts. So on the next screen, we're gonna just show you visually what it looks like when you apply these weights. And if it were per capita, if the per capita was $1, just so that you have a better understanding of how it works. So as you can see, we have Sam and Alex here. And so the FSF needs are determined on individual student basis. Each student is evaluated for their eligibility, and the weights add up by student, as shown in the examples here. So the weight of 1 was equal to approximately, like I said before, $4,220. In this example, the weight of 1 is going to equal $1 just for this demonstration. In the examples, we have 2 students, as I just stated, Sam and Alex. Both students are elementary school students. This means they are both entitled to the K to 5 grade weight of 1, shown in the graph in orange. If they were middle school students, they would have a weight of 1.08. And if they were high school students, it would be a weight of 1.03. So both students are English language learners, which is shown in green. However, Sam is an elementary school multilingual learner enrolled in a standalone English as a English new language program. Therefore, Sam is entitled to the K to 5 ENL weight of 0.4. Alex is also an elementary school multilingual learner. Alex is enrolled at a bilingual program at his school. The school has appropriately coded Alex as enrolled in a bilingual program in the DOE scheduling system. As such, Alex is entitled to the K to 5 bilingual weight of 0.44. So as you can see, the coding is different, which means the weight is going to be slightly different. Both students are students with disabilities requiring special education classroom instructional services, special class or integrated co-teaching. Sam's individual educational program, his IEP, requires less than 20% of Sam's instructional program to be in an IEP setting. Therefore, Sam is entitled to 20% special education weight of 0.56, which is now shown in yellow. Alex's IEP is 21% to 59% of Alex's instructional program, which is to be spent in an IEP setting. Therefore, Alex is entitled to the 21 to 59% special education weight, which is 1.25, and is shown in yellow as well. As you can see, there's a big difference in that amount of funding that they would get. Both students are students in poverty, therefore they're both entitled to the FSF academic intervention weight of 0.12, which is shown in blue. When you add all of the pieces together, Sam's FSF needs total a weight of 2.08, while Alex's needs total 2.81. In this example, where the base weight of one equals $1, then Sam would generate $2.08, while Alex would generate $2.81. When each weight of one is equal to $4,223, Sam's weight of 2.08 is equal to approximately 8,800, while Alex's weight of 2.81 is equal to approximately 12,000 under the FSF formula. So this gives you a little bit of insight into why schools' fundings may vary significantly, right? Because each school's funding is based on their specific student population, and every child's needs are different. So we can't expect that one school is going to get the same funding as another school when they have different children with different needs at each school. And in addition, there's different student populations as far as how big schools are, how small they are. So this just gives you a little bit of an insight into how those funds are allocated and how they are broken down. So the next slide, this year, Fair Student Funding is fully funded for the first time ever, which was deserves like some hand claps, hearts, all of the emojis up above, because every year we are usually never funded at 100%. And in April of 2021, the state legislature actually committed to a full phase-in of state foundation aid, which is the primary source for the FSF funding formula. So as a result, all schools were funded at 100% of their Fair Student Funding formula in FY22. This is a tremendous achievement, which was made possible by our partners at the state and federal level. And this $600 million investment impacted 1,100 schools and about 700,000 students this school year. So each school receiving new funding in FY22 received a combination of local funding and federal stimulus funding, while the foundation aid formula is being phased in, and it is part of a 3-year phase-in plan. Okay. The DOE has received over $7 billion in federal stimulus funding for FY22, which will continue through FY25. Along with fully funding FSF, the influx of essential federal stimulus resources will allow us to expand programs that have been proven to be effective, boost much needed services, and restore programs we know are valuable to our students. So some of the major initiatives funded with these new resources include investing in early childhood education, including special education, pre-K and 3K, expanding the community schools program by adding new community schools to provide expanded social, emotional, academic, and extracurricular services to students in the highest need communities, expanding the PSAL, which is the Public School Athletic League, to additional schools, expanding mental health supports, and hiring 600 new mental health workers, including social workers and school psychologists. A historic investment in the mental health and well-being of our students that will build on our strong foundation of social emotional learning and mental health supports. This enables us to respond to the effects of a global pandemic, and it impacts our students and their families directly. We've also increased IT support. These supports allow all students to have access to a digital device and ensure all students become fully fluent digital citizens for our new economy as part of this commitment. The DOE will guarantee a device is available for every K-12 student, train educators in advanced computer science, launch a technology capstone project for all 8th grade students to demonstrate digital literacy skills. The budget increase help desk support continuation of wireless broadband services on more than 500,000 devices purchased for students in response to the pandemic and build out our digital learning hub. It also provides critical programs and related services to students with disabilities in grades K to 12, including physical and speech therapy and more. The pandemic has had a disproportionate impact on our students with disabilities. The academic recovery plan will make every resource available to better support students with IEPs. It extends from the DOE's youngest learners to students preparing for graduation by launching after school and Saturday programs for all students with IEPs to receive additional instruction and related services, expanding committees on preschool special education to expedite evaluations and IEP meetings, providing eligible students ages 21 and over with continued instruction toward receiving their diploma or other exit credentials, or to receive consultation to facilitate post-secondary plans for college and career readiness. Expanding family workshops and information sessions through our Beyond Access series, which support families of their students with disabilities. We're also addressing learning loss with increased academic support, which could include using assessment results to accelerate learning, targeted services for high-need students, and other initiatives. Each focus area includes dedicated supports for multilingual learners and immigrant students to address their unique needs and support their academic progress, and language acquisition. So the budgeting timeline, just to give you an understanding of how the timeline works for budgets getting approved. And in February and March, based on the initial budget estimates of city and state revenue, the DOE presents the CECs with the proposed fair student funding rates for the coming school year. In April and May, the panel for educational policy, which is the PEP, votes on the proposed fair student funding rates for the coming year. And in late spring, the DOE releases budget allocations to schools. By June, principals, along with their SLT teams, propose budgets for the coming year. And in July, superintendents certify alignment between school budgets and the CEPs for the coming year. In September, the new school year begins. You can find the following online on the DOE's Info Hub under reports, and then by selecting financial data and reports. So there you will find detailed information about each and every school budget allocation in the form of school allocation memorandums, or SAMs, as we stated before. And remember, those SAMs, depending on which one you choose, is going to give you detailed information about that allocation, the purpose of that allocation, and how it can be used. Okay. You'll also find a programmatic guide to fair student funding, as well as how each FSF allocation is calculated for each school. You can find the following online on each individual school webpage under reports, budget and finances, then budget and finances. You can find the detailed information of the school's budget specifically on the different types of funding schools receive, and the detailed information as to how the principal has budgeted for the current year, including the number of staff positions and other planned spending. If individuals are presenting, Not for you. We can take any questions that you may have regarding this presentation at this time. And just know that if you do want to give your feedback, your comments or any questions can be directed to this email that is now on the screen, but just be sure to submit it by April 26th so that it can be considered when the PEPs are evaluating the school budget proposals.
Are you all set, Naomi?
Yep. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, so we're moving really quickly into our speaker section in about 2 minutes, and I'm sure at that point, too, if anyone have any other questions, you can ask at that point. Is it
Okay.
okay? Thank you so much, Naomi.
Thank you all. Have a great holiday break.
Thank you. Okay, Ted Chang, we will be having the council members ask questions, and I'm sure Naomi, you're sticking around for 2 minutes, correct? Anyone have questions specifically for Naomi? Ted, yes, you do? Okay, so Ted Chang, go ahead, please.
Hi, Naomi. The question I have is, I've seen this presentation given many times, and what I've just never understood, there's no allocation for students in K to 3 or even pre-K to 3 for any kind of early intervention. And we know just as a factual matter that when kids take their state exams in 3rd grade, we end up with, schools that have high, low income populations end up having, a lot of students who are not testing at grade level. And it's not like that's new information. I mean, when they check the kids' reading levels, they know this as early as kindergarten. They know where the kids are tracking. And so, yeah, that's a great slide. And so I'm just trying to understand why there isn't an early intervention weight, specifically just for what we all the teachers already know, that they have many students in kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, and 3rd grade who are already not tracking. And instead of, and this fair student funding model seems to essentially fund based on a remedial basis. And why don't we have more of an anticipatory funding model where the funding is front loaded so that the kids never fall behind in the first place? Because obviously it's much harder to, teach when you have kids that are further behind because they're not really prepared to receive the information that's being given in class. Whereas if you intervene much earlier and figure out how to help some of these kids, maybe some of those kids would just be able to catch up early on and then would not even fall behind in the first place. So I was just wondering if you could give some insights into the design of this funding model and how it even came about in the first place and why it's so backloaded instead of front loaded.
How you doing, Mr. Chang? So I totally understand what you're saying. However, we do have, I came back to this slide just so that you can see the breakdown, and the academic intervention weight that is given to schools, and that is on top of the initial grade weight, right? And that's why we kind of went through the breakdown, because there is a base funding weight, right, which is given to everyone, but then there are other weights that are added on top of that to assist with additional resources for those students. Now, when you speak of elementary grades K to 2, right, which is because testing grade starts in 3rd grade, at that time, the students are there, they are being evaluated so that they know where they lie. Now, that also is at the school level, right? And schools are, the fair student funding breakdown, this is just the base funding that schools get. Schools also receive other allocations as well to assist with specific items. We have ELA math allocations that are given to schools. We have additional allocations that are reimbursable funds, right? Which are the funds that we spoke about that you can see in the SAMs that are given to schools, like the Title I those are additional fundings that are given to schools so that the school can provide additional supports to the students. Now, if you're speaking of a specific school, then you have to, you know, be a part of that school and join those SLT teams so that you can have a voice in how that funding is being used. We do have a portion of like the Title I funding, which is for parent engagement, which that funding is supposed to impact the students directly, and parents are able to vote on how that is being used. And that can be used for if you want to bring in professional development, educational consultants to work directly with the schools. But each school is different, and how the funding is used and where those resources go ultimately are up to the principal and the choices that they make broken down into those CEP plans. So that is something that you can discuss with the principals of the schools or be a part of those teams when they are creating those CEP plans so that you can see exactly where the funding is going and how it is going to impact the students directly.
And
Because
just
each
quickly to
school is
follow up,
different.
do you know the ELA and math allocations that you mentioned? Are those somehow weighted? Is there something we can read that talks to us about who gets these ELA and math allocations, and are they?
Absolutely. When you
is it
go,
kind of like fair student funding, where if 60 or 70% of the second graders are not reading at grade level, then every single school in New York City gets that allocation? I mean, I guess
right,
I just get.
it is based on the performance of students, and you can get the full breakdown by looking up the SAM. Exactly what I told you on the school budget page website, and it'll give you the breakdown. It actually even shows you the allocations to each school and things like that. You could get detailed information there for every allocation that is given, what schools receive it and why.
Okay, I'll take a look. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Naomi, thank you so much for being here and presenting. This is a mandatory thing we have to do, and I appreciate you always coming and doing this duty.
No problem.
Are we gonna have these slides to post on our website?
Yes, I'll send you the I will send you the PowerPoint, and I'll also
Beautiful.
send you a it's like a reference sheet that you can give out with
Perfect.
popular FAQs. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
She's been doing this for a long time, I tell you. It's after a while. Thank you so much, Naomi. You're gonna stop sharing. There it is. There it is. Thank you so much. So it's a lot of information, folks. We're gonna have time. We have 2 speakers on our list. Before we take the speakers, I'm gonna call on the council members if they have any reports to make. At this point in time, you can unmute and make your report. So Elena, so council members, let's start with first Vice President Barbara Williams. Do you have any report at this time?
Not much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I'm so happy to see you all again. So I have one SLT meeting that I attended, PS 220, though I didn't stay for the duration of the meeting. But what I heard, the great stuff they're doing over there. But what I heard them talking about that has been an issue is picking up and dropping off with the crowding and the speeding and the lack of crossing guards in their area. I know we've been talking about it, but that's still been a problem over in that side of town at that particular school in that area. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Williams. Next, we're gonna have second Vice President Ted Chang.
Nothing to report. I'll let someone else go. Thanks.
Thank you, Ted. Next, we're gonna have Recording Secretary Latifah Lewis.
Hi, good evening. I was able to visit 3 of my schools recently, and happy to report things are going well. We do have one of our speaker, Dr. Remy, was one of the schools that I visited, 312, 48. Some of the concerns that had remained in that district were, some of the safety issues, not within the school, but sometimes in the neighborhood. They have reported that there's been more patrolling and so forth, so that's an improvement. These were some of the issues that were brought up at that time. And one at PS 48 and I'm sorry, PS 40 and 312, one of the issues that were raised, and they're looking for ways that CEC can probably help to support, is to get, they do not have an elevator. They, in a 5-floor school, it is one of the things that were on the SCA list, etc., but the budgeting costs are seen as prohibitive. But it is a problem, although the school does cater to students with needs, it prevents you from having students who would need to go to these floors. So those are some of the concerns that came up.
Thank you so much, and great to see members of going to the schools and doing visits. We're slowly getting there again. Thank you so much, Recording Secretary Natifa Lewis. Next, we have our treasurer, Mr. Lu Zha.
Nothing to report at this time. I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we're going to have members Elena Amenova.
Hi, everyone. I just want to express my appreciation for everyone who helped out with the breakfast, and for all the principals and parent coordinators that were there. I think it was a magnificent event, and look forward to many more in-person engagements with our school communities. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much. Next, we're going to have Cassandra Alexander. I don't think she was here before, but I'm not sure if she's in now. Okay. Next, we're going to have member Nancy Lugasi.
Hi, everyone. Again, just also going to echo what I believe Barbara said. Traffic and safety continue to be a really big concern. I'm sure it's the same in where you're located in Queens. It's a district-wide problem, but it's really an issue. Also, and I know that's like what we've been speaking about, just with the concerns about state testing, and also just the knowledge gaps that are starting to really come out in the second half and the later part of the school year. So like a lot of parents are very concerned about deficits in, all the core competencies, reading, writing, math. So just, that's something to really watch out for. And also parents are asking for more information about, summer rising or whatever the school or, DOE education is going to look like over the summer. So thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Dr. Pate, any comments? Anyone have any comments about anything? Okay.
I was unmuting. So there is a training, Sonia, it's next week, early next week. And there's one tomorrow on summer rising. So it will look very familiar to what we were able to offer last year, except for a very, very big distinction, which is that Department of Education will be running the enrollment process. So those who are either mandated for summer school or who choose to attend summer school, that process will be administered by New York City Department of Education, as opposed to last year when DYCD took on that job, and there was a lot of challenges associated with that. And so they have heard what was said, and there's a new platform. It is, it's a click through, really, it's a quick process. The new platform will have you registered in, I think it's under 10 clicks. It really is a very speedy process. They are just ensuring that the platform is stable and secure, and all our parent coordinators will be trained in the platform. There's an opportunity for principals to be trained, and of course the district teams will also be trained in the Summer Rising enrollment platform, and so that will, obviously go better than it was last year. As in last year, we will have the morning program be primarily academic, and then from 12 until 6, the program will be a dual engagement with our community-based organizations that is overseen by DYCD. Let's see. We have, I was so committed to the autism presentation, but I can show you our schools and their affiliations. And so I'm going to probably go off. I'll pull that up. And Vijay, when you give me a second, within the next 2 or 3 minutes, I'll be able to pull up that list of the schools buildings, the school buildings that will be open, and the schools that are affiliated with that. So if in a few moments I'll pull that up.
Most definitely.
I can showcase it, so you'll have a better idea of that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
so helpful.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Of
Page.
course, absolutely. I'll get it right now.
Next, we have Ms. Shalisa Dean.
I am here. I have to unmute myself. Hi, everyone. Those celebrating Ramadan, happy Ramadan. I am happy to report that our Broward community, as I have been mentioning, has received $40,000 for gardening to have a conquer food insecurity in the area and to conquer mental health problems in our community. And I was able to bring that money into our schools. And it is going to be in MS 217. We are revitalizing their garden, as well as PS 117. We are revitalizing their garden. And the youths, as they're being trained, the youths are ages 14 to 25. Many are former students of these schools, so they're able to put an input into this community they grew up in, attended when they were in kindergarten, and now they're in 20s. And we're gonna have a mural with to clear a wall. There's a wall and PS 170 that desperately needed some help. That we will have a mural built there or made there by youths that are going to be part of the program. So I am really happy for our community for that. And we're also continuing to provide food pantry once a month from PS1 to 17. And during Ramadan, we're providing meals at least once a week to the community while we were working in the garden.
Thank you.
So that's it for community update.
Thank you, Shalisa, and happy Ramadan to you, and we miss you. Dr. Page, are you ready? If not, okay, go ahead, and then we'll have Simone after.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and project the affiliations. You should be able to see that. And this was a conversation that went well into the evening, trying to get the affiliation straight. So those are the buildings on the far left are the locations that will be open for summer school. And just yesterday, PS 50 was approved for extended year for students with disabilities, for students with IEPs. Yes.
Can you make that a little bit bigger? I see people squinting.
I can. Let me work on it right now.
Thank you.
Give me a sec.
I think that's a little bit better. Thank you.
Little better. Yeah. Can you all see that?
Yeah, I can see it. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. You can go ahead and take a screenshot. That would probably,
I mean, Dr. Page, at our next meeting, we can probably do a little bit.
Yeah, I'll at our next meeting.
Sure.
Yeah. It's going to be heavy on summarizing. So
beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, at our next meeting, the district officer will bring more information about this. And folks, right tonight we have the honor of welcoming our newest council member. She is no stranger to District 28. I remember her distinctly over the years, sitting in the front row at our in-person meetings at the district office. She will always advocate and speak up and express herself. And I'm not surprised that she is serving along in this wonderful platform as a CEC member. I'm so delighted to introduce Simone Donbach, who is our newest council member. Simone, please.
Thank you, Vicha. Yeah, I'm very happy to be with the great CEC 28. I feel very honored. And I was very privileged to be able to attend the principal's breakfast on Tuesday, and it was wonderful to meet the CEC in person, but also principals, Dr. Pate, and yeah, it was a great honor. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And the work now begins, Simone, we have a lot more work to do. So I just want to acknowledge from our senators, representatives, you have Mr. Norris Johns. Can you please unmute? Just say hi really quickly. And then Sujin, you're next really quickly. Go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Norris Johns. I'm a community liaison for the State Senator Leroy Comrie's office. I was just covering the meeting for someone tonight. Chantrice is usually here, but
Yes.
I'm happy to be with you guys. It was a great meeting, a lot of information in the presentation. So thank you all for having me.
Thank you for being here. Next, we have Sujin Choi from Senator Liu's office. Sujin, can you unmute and just say hi really quickly? Okay, and maybe I'm asking her to unmute. So we're gonna move along while Sujin figure that out. We go to our public section, comment section. We're gonna have Ari Feldman. Can you please go ahead, sir? I just ask you to unmute.
Hi, good evening. Thanks so much. I will try to be very fast. My name is Ari Feldman. I'm a parent of a kindergartner and a soon-to-be 3K student. And I'm a member of our organization, D28 Action for Equity. And we put together a letter in support of Dr. Pate. You may know that Chancellor Banks has said that all of the superintendents are going to be up for review. He's going to decide who are going to be kept and who are going to be replaced. So I'm going to paste into the chat. I already did earlier, but I'll paste it again into the chat. A link so that you can sign a letter in support of Dr. Pate. Yeah, one other really quick note, we had an event, our organization, an event last Monday about culturally responsive sustaining education. It was really awesome. We had somebody from NYU talk to us about what CRSE is. And then we also had some parents from 144. We had a student, we had the principal, Dr. Lucent from MS8, and one of her teachers, Ms. Dunning, who came to speak about their practices at their school. It was a really awesome event, and there is a YouTube recording, and I will also paste that into the chat. So thanks so much. Have a great night.
Okay, thank you so much. I forgot to call on our council member Rajwinder Kaur. Rajwinder, please. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I know you're busy, Anyways, good evening, everyone. Just nothing to report much, but just want to, say thank you, everyone, for making our event breakfast event a wonderful and a successful one. Many more to come. So excited for that. Special time to Dr. Pate for giving such appreciations to everyone. Thank you for motivating us.
Thank you so much, Rajwinder. Next, we had one more person. I think she said she had to leave, right?
Yes, VJ, it was Letitia Fraser.
Yeah,
and
but she put her information in the chat. Yeah,
she put it in the chat.
Beautiful. So that brings us to the end of our public comment section. I want to share something really quickly to everyone here, really quickly here. Let me share my screen, and this is about the PEP parent personnel who wants to be elected to represent, all parents, on the PEP. So you have until April 30th to apply, right? The application period for parents interested in serving as a PEP parent member will remain open until April 30th. I'm happy to announce that myself and Al Suhu, the president from CEC 26, were elected actually to represent the Queens borough to elect the person to represent parents on the PEP. As we know, the CEC presidents are the ones who elect this person to serve for 2 years. Right now, we have one parent. It was the first one last time was elected, and now the new person will serve for the next 2 years once elected from July 1, 2022 and ends on July 30th, 2024. So anyone interested in serving on the PEP as a parent leader, parent member, or any form of as a parent, please, this is going to be this application process here going to be on our website, and you can take a look there, and good luck. on that process. So the time now is 8:23 p.m. And at this point in time, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all so much. We'll be continuing doing our business meeting in approximately, let's do 5 minutes. Is that fair? Everyone okay with that? 5 minutes? So maybe 8:30 we can do our 8:30 we'll do our business meeting. The public is welcome to stay on for our business meeting, but you're not allowed to speak. You can listen in, but you can also, just join us there. So you can unmute at this time if you like. Can you allow everyone to unmute and say hi, say bye, and this hello to everybody. Go ahead.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
Have a good evening.
Good night, everyone.
You all for coming.
Good night, everyone. It's a good meeting. Venus, I need to offline with you.
Thank you so much,
Just give you
everybody.
a note of
representing-
encouragement.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for this beautiful meeting
Absolutely.
representing PS 354.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Remy, for the presentation tonight. Thank you, Principal Grego, for being here with us tonight as well. Really appreciate it.
You are most welcome anytime.
Thank you. Ari, I appreciate the very kind words. Thank you.
Oh, okay, we are.
Take care, Seema.
Good night.
Sorry, I didn't get to say my usual bye-bye to everyone. The delivery was knocking on my door. I had to run and get the delivery. I apologize. Okay, everyone, how are you? Are you ready to start? Dorinda, can you have the minutes?
One more minute, VJ. You said 8:30. It's 8:29.
Okay, we're getting organized. We're getting organized. Okay, so 8:30 now. Elena, it's 8:30, so. All right, folks, good afternoon. The time now is 8:30 p.m. We're gonna start our business meeting for April's calendar meeting and business meeting. The time now is 8:30, so this meeting is called into session. So at this point, we're gonna ask our recording secretary, Latifa, to please do the roll call.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I was getting back in there. President Vijay Ramjatan,
I'm here.
First Vice President Barbara Williams,
I'm here, Latifa.
Second Vice President Ted Chang,
Here.
Recording Secretary Latifa Lewis, I'm here. Treasurer Luzao,
Here.
Member Nancy Lugacy,
Here.
Member Cassandra Alexander, Member Cassandra Alexander, Member Shaliza Dean, Member Shaliza Dean,
I see she's here, but she might be, that's fine. She's here.
Member Elena Amanova,
I'm here.
Member Rajwinder Kaur,
Here.
Member Simone Dornbach.
Yeah.
Thank you. My apologies. I was getting the kids some food.
No worries, same here, taking a break to get them food too. That's what happens. Okay, we're gonna go through our agenda now. So we're gonna review and approval of January and March minutes. Dorinda, can you share your screen, please? Okay, thank you. So these were sent out to everyone to review. Any objections to these? Anyone?
I'm sorry, these were sent out. I never saw these for. Dorinda, did you send these out?
I thought these were with the March minutes that I had sent out. I'm not sure if they were not attached.
You want to see the January again?
Yeah, it's up right now. Do you guys see it or no?
Yes, we're seeing it. This is January.
Correct.
Date on it. Oh, safety town hall. Can you scroll back up to the beginning? Maybe that's the top. There has a. There it is. So January 6, 2002. You can scroll down maybe.
It was sent out today at 5:30, Ted.
Oh, is that what
I
happened?
think that
Okay,
was the
'cause
March one was sent out today at 5:30. I don't know about January.
I don't know. I never saw the January. I can kind of see that there are some we're gonna need to do some edits on this. Can we just postpone this to the next meeting?
Most definitely. So both March And January or just one of them? Did you all get a chance to see March?
I didn't get it because there are some changes that need to be done on March 2, but we just got the video just today, so it might make sense to just postpone both of them.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, everyone is we okay with that? Yes. We'll just go ahead and postpone this for next month. So Dorinda, can you please make sure to send out this to the whole council so they can review it and send you. And again, everyone, please send her any edits that needs to be made. We'll review and adjust and have it ready for next month's meeting to be approved. Is that fine? Thank you. Okay, absences. We have to discuss the absences. Do you have a list of the absences that needs to be approved or discussed? Dorinda, yes, no?
I don't have a list of the absences. My apologies. I wasn't sure that I was supposed to.
Okay.
Because
So
remember,
then-
I was not aware of January's or nor before absences.
Bibi, sorry. Yes, go ahead. Oh, sorry, Latifa, go ahead. That was Bibi speaking.
We at the last meeting, we said that there were not absences at the for the January meeting. It was at the town halls or so forth, which we said we did not have to vote on. So we do not have absences that we need to fix. They were all for some of the additional meetings that we had, none of the calendar or business meetings.
Okay, so Latifa, do you mind working with Dorinda in the behind the scenes and get that organized and settled for our next meeting? Bibi?
Yeah, I think it's important to note that the AA is only 2 months on the job, so she may not know of the absences that preceded her, which are from July through January, right? So if you didn't have any, you already voted on those because the minutes were all approved, and those absences are already noted on the minutes. Am I correct, Natifa? Yes. And so I think the March minutes were sent out a week or two ago, and everyone reviewed and approved and said they were presented here, except Ted wants to review the recording, which is now posted, right, Ted? So you have access to that. And important, right, to know that minutes are not verbatim, and minutes need to note action items and decisions that the council made and voted on. So the minutes can be 5 pages, right? Because you're not saying he said, she said, no verbatim. So, and take the opportunity, guys, to like review the minutes when they're sent to you weeks ahead so you're prepared at the meeting. That would be my recommendation. The other January minutes, I think, Tifa, you had just completed those a week ago or so, right? So we can reshare that. Specifically, I think Ted needed some information noted on those minutes because those were the ones that were reviewed in last month and then were tabled to be reviewed back this month, correct? Yes. So I would just say that you can go back to the recording, look at the minutes, and then Ted, maybe work with, you know, VJ or Natifa to talk about the January minutes because Dorinda may not have information on that or can attest to what occurred. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Once I get them, I'll definitely take a look and work
Can
before
we
the
be
next meeting.
can we actually recognize, please, as we have other hands up, please? I'll appreciate it. Latifa?
I just wanted to clarify the process because I know we were without an AA for a while, but my understanding was that when the minutes are, you know, recorded and typed up by the AA, she would share it with me. I would review it and present the document, and at the meeting we'll go over it. And I understand that we're trying to work collaboratively, but I think that it's kind of making the boundaries a little bit very I don't know, it's erasing some of the boundaries because then I'm a little bit unsure of what my job is when it comes to that.
Okay. Ted, you will add something?
I mean, I don't really. Oh, just you mean what my comment was before? No, I was just saying that I would work with, you know, everyone to get my comments in for the next meeting. That was the only comment I was going to make.
Okay.
I don't know who, I know usually the AA prepares the minute, maybe the first cut of the minutes, and maybe if, Natifa wants to review it or something, I'm not sure who needs to see it first, but I can just weigh in once I get a copy of them.
What is really important is the time and the process. Somebody had a hands up, sorry? I'm gonna see that.
I can't raise my hand, so I was, asking permission to speak.
Okay, BB had a hand up and then I'll call you, Barbara. Barbara, go ahead and I'll call BB, please.
Okay, I'm not sure why we're putting off the January minutes again. We're in April and we've been putting it off. I know Natifa worked on it. I'm not sure what happened, that caused Dorinda not to be on top of those January minutes. I'm just, wondering why we keep putting it off. We're now in April. And so we're gonna go on until June and we still have not approved the January minutes. I don't understand what's going on.
Okay, so I want to wrap up this part here. So let's think about solutions, right? Because I feel like we could talk about what happened and what didn't happen, how it could happen. So I feel like we have a good structure about, let's move to the next item, please. The minutes, the recordings are up. Ted, do what you have to do. Latifa, review what he's sending to you. Dorinda, next meeting is on. That's it. And we move along. Is that fair? Thank you. Maybe you want to add something?
No, I just wanted to say that someone asked about process, and if you'd like to talk
Yes,
about
please.
the process, we can quickly say it in 10 seconds, but we
Go
can
for it.
also sidebar and connect. You said go for it? Okay, so the administrative assistant responsibility is to take minutes, right? And protocol is the administrative assistant should have the draft minutes ready for the council to review before their meeting. And then council members would give their feedback, specifically the secretary to give feedback to say, you missed this, you missed that, because the secretary also work with the AA, right? To make sure that the minutes is up to par and ready for the members to approve. It's important the members read the minutes to ensure that whatever they would like noted in the minutes is there. If something, it's a decision that the AA missed, because you work together, right? And then the minutes are edited and then reviewed and sent back to the council in order to prepare it for today, for the council meeting. Because if you want to review minutes in the meeting in itself and not prior, then you will spend the meeting talking about minutes for 30 minutes. And then you will accept with corrections, and then it'll be presented and uploaded to your website. So I think it's a collaborative effort. The AA is new, so the process is have it ready for the public if they ask, even in draft form, at least 14 days after the meeting, right? That's what you have. The 14 days is important. Draft minutes should be available for anyone who requests the minutes of the meeting within 14 days after the meeting.
Okay, thank you, BB.
Okay.
I think the process is clear here. If there's any other questions, we can sideline and get an email with BB, and we can finalize what the process is. But let's not make this happen where the minutes is going on for 3 months, 4 months, because in Councilmember Barbara is right? Why is we in April, so they didn't approve January minutes? So all voices are being lifted up, right? So next item on the agenda is resolution committee discussion. There has been discussions on many occasions about we needing to have a resolution committee so we could form consensus for resolutions, and then we can discuss how we can make sure when a resolution is proposed to the council that the expected, outcome might be favorable, but mostly because of the fact that we have gained consensus, or we get buy-in, right? We get other council members to give their input in resolutions, because why invest all this time and work on your resolutions then to get it debunked or not voted on or approved? So ideas, thoughts, we had formed a resolution committee before. Natifa, is that correct? When you were acting secretary? No, acting AA and other things?
We only had parliamentarians to control the dialogue during the meetings. However, it was brought up and it was tabled for business meeting. So at this point, we could get it through.
Yeah. So is anyone against a resolution committee? How that would work is that if someone has a, lose out, your hand is up, I'll call you 1 second, right? How it would work is if someone wants to write a resolution, propose a resolution, they'll send it to the committee, say, hey, I would like to propose this resolution. This is what I worked on already. Can you, and then the committee will call all council members, say, hey, there's a resolution on the table here. This is current format. This is what it says on it here. What are your thoughts? How do you feel about this? One member may say, you know what, I like everything, but that one sentence there does not chime well with me. How can we fix that? And the committee will work with the member, the person who sponsored the resolution to say, hey, this one member feels this way about this line. How do you feel about it? Find compromise, maybe, maybe not. And then we propose it with feedback from the council. So it doesn't come in as a one-person resolution or a standalone resolution that way. Lose out, and then we'll take any other comments about anyone before we take a vote on making this committee. Lou?
Yeah, I think I'm just try to understand the detail of the procedure. For example, if someone say, again, if there's an argument, right? There's no argument that's fine, just everybody happy. But if there's an argument, like what's the decision-making procedure? It's not going to be like one person in the committee just going to kill the bill because, insist on something, things like that. So in the parliament, a committee can simply kill the bill, even the bill probably can going to be passed easily on the floor, right? It happens all the time. So the detail of the procedure is very important.
Thank you. Bibi, can I ask you a quick question? In terms of the procedures, right? If a person, let's say I sponsor a resolution, and a lot of members, Ted, I see your hand, thank you, I'll call you in a second. And a lot of members say, I don't support that at all. Does it mean that it doesn't get put on to be voted on regardless? Or does it mean that they will still ask all members, the committee will still try to work with other members, with myself as a sponsor, try to get, buy-in or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, if I say I really want to put this for a vote, does it still go for a vote?
You can put anything for a vote. The point is you want to have 6 votes for the resolution to pass, right?
Right.
And you are representing the voices of your community. So your resolution should speak to that. Like, for example, if I'm a council member and I want the sky to be gray tomorrow and my community would like the entire sky to be blue, I won't write a resolution, to state a position that I want the sky to be gray, because that doesn't speak to the voices of my community and they elected me to serve them, right?
Right.
So sometimes you have to take that into consideration. You also want to take into consideration discussion that's happening within the council. And those discussions should be happening in public. The debates you're having regarding a resolution, the way that you are discussing to come up with a resolution, your discussions around what the topic of the resolution should be, what the whereas should be, what the resolve should be, all of that should be done publicly, and the community has a right to attend the meeting or listen to those conversations to see how you come to decisions, right? Okay. They should also be given an opportunity to weigh in on these resolutions. And then to speak about the buy-in, I heard you mention that. Yes, we encourage council members, if you are thinking of adopting a resolution, one of the best practices would be to discuss it with your council members so you can have buy-in. You can ask them their thoughts. Sometimes a resolution will get passed because one member who is the 6th vote for yes would say, well, I don't agree with that paragraph or that word because it's not inclusive, it's exclusive. Can you change it? And then the member would say, yes, I am open to change. Let's change that, right? And the resolution gets passed. So all of these things are important. We had resolution professional development. I would implore you to look it up on demand on Parent University as a refresher. It talks about resolution. And I also advise the council, if that is something you want to consider, a resolution committee. Yeah, I think councils who have resolution committee are successful in adopting resolutions, working around resolutions, engaging their community around resolutions, taking public feedback for resolutions before it's even put forth for a vote.
Okay, thank you. Ted, then Latifa.
So I'm glad to say I agree with Lou that, I think if the function of a resolution committee is to kill stuff and stop it from getting a vote, I think that's not going to sit well with a lot of members. And it makes sense, but I do think that the things that, BB is talking about in terms of like, and VJ talked about in terms of like just having maybe a separate meeting where we just talk about the issues before it's actually formally presented for a vote. I think that just might be more productive in terms of time where, people want to discuss stuff and weigh in a little bit. And I think that would just give us more time to process some of the issues that come up in these resolutions. And just one thing I want to say about how the resolution committee or how these resolution type processes work, at least the ones that I've seen, is that you can literally put up a draft of a resolution and then you can go line by line and you can propose edits and you can take votes on making edits. So, it's not, I don't know if we want to make that mandatory and binding or not. It might be up to the sponsor, but I guess that's kind of what how we design a resolution committee. Do we want it to be like this mandatory thing where people have to, the resolution has to conform with what the vote of the members says, or is it more of like taking an optional vote just so that the sponsor can know what people believe in? I think that's kind of like, that's the part where you would need to decide on if we're going to make a formal resolutions committee. But then if you go through a resolution line by line and people say like, well, I want to propose this language, and then you take a vote on it, then, if you get through the whole resolution, if everyone has voted for that resolution already, then that also means that it's going to pass in the council. So that's the advantage of doing it that way.
Thank you, Ted. Latifa.
So my understanding of the resolution committee, and I think we discussed this in a couple of meetings ago, was that you would have like maybe 3 to 5 members, who are the resolution committee. And the thing is, whoever is sponsoring the bill, sponsoring the resolution, will create their draft resolution, bring it to the committee. All right, bring it, and say, hey, I've worked on this part. We will also share it with members. And the responsibility of the resolution committee would be to kind of fine tune it to help collect the same kind of buy-ins that we've been asking for the previous ones, so that one collective draft comes out of it. And I believe, for example, even if you are on the committee and you are the sponsor of the draft, you should not be the one making the final decision, because the idea is the same way that if you're writing a book or whatever it is, the resolution committee is almost like the editor, making sure that you've taken into account the wider view. So it's not about censoring, it's not about the vote, it's about creating a collective document so that we don't spend 10 hours arguing in front of the public to put forward a resolution that doesn't even get to an actual vote because nobody wants to sponsor it, because that is a waste of our time, that is a waste of the public's time. So this resolution committee, the aim of it is to have a committee in place that creates that balance, that is able to provide that somewhat unbiased look at whatever document the person has put in, say, hey, this part here, some members are expressing concern about, and collaboratively come up with one document that represents the council, not the individuals. I understand that, there's flexibility in bylaws that allow a lot of different things, but just because you could do something doesn't mean you should. And our idea is to have consensus and go forward as one committee.
Okay, so I think we've given enough discussion on the committee itself. I think I've asked everyone who wants to speak, and you raise your hand. So Latifa, I would like to, do I make a motion to create this, maybe?
I believe last time we said we didn't have, it's already included in the bylaws that we can have it, so we don't have to make a motion to create it. We just do it the same way that we create the subcommittees, that we just ask for volunteers or whatever it is. That was the understanding.
Yeah, no subcommittee. Ted, Ted has done this 100 times already in the council. Ted, why don't you go ahead? Go ahead, Ted. Floor's yours.
Well, no, I mean, just in terms of process, like, I think this would just be like any other committee. I mean, assuming that we just keep things status quo in terms of the bylaws, then it would just be like any other committee. We would form the committee, there'd be a chair. But I think in terms of like how the committee would work, because it's just like any other committee, it's not the only way to get a resolution onto the floor, but it would be one way to get a resolution on the floor. So you certainly could go through the resolutions committee, but you're not, under the bylaws, you're not required to, but you definitely, it would make sense to go through it to build
I
the
agree.
buy-in.
Okay, so Lou Zhao, and then we're gonna vote. Well, then we let's form a committee. Let's do it. Lou Zhao, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just I think right. I think Ted is. I also agree with Ted on this one. I think that the point is this subcommittee is different from other subcommittee. The other subcommittee, honestly, basically kind of interest, things like more like a service. This one probably has some teeth, right? I mean, again, this is the things I worry about if we don't really care about the detail, and the team may bite us. Okay, so if we decide, we form the committee is not the only way to go through, go to submit the resolution. That's better. Also, I think I suggest we have like come up with kind of like a sub bylaw for the subcommittee itself. So basically, how to work on the resolution. Again, this part is actually pretty important in terms of the procedure, how make things work. So again, it's very possible, even if everybody on good term, that's no problem, right? Conceptually, that's absolutely great. But what if there's things get edgy? When those situations come up, what's the format? So those things I think we need to consider further. Yeah.
I really want to make sure we don't just spend an hour on this, right? Like in terms of discussing how to do it. I feel like we want to make sure that if we agree that let's form a committee, that's good. A subcommittee is good. We let the committee meet and come up with ideas of what they think it could be, present that to the rest of the council at our next meeting, and we can move forward. Let's get the ball going. So I think, Latifa, you have your hand up, but you spoke before already. Is it about the same thing? I see an applause also.
You just said what I was saying. Form the committee and then let them work out.
Bibi, is something relevant to this?
Yeah, I do want to say this to the council, and I hear Lou, and Lou has a point, right? Because and his point, and Lou, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm understanding your point. In a committee, the committee members, when they call a meeting, are the only ones who are chairing and leading the meeting. Other CEC members attending in the space are merely attending and can only participate if they're called upon by the committee members. And so let's say Lou is authoring a resolution and he brings it into the space. Will he be given an opportunity to speak to the resolution, right? So because he can obviously expand on context and share what his thoughts are behind the resolution. So I see where he's going with that, because there should be some kind of criteria for, or the expectations as the president over all of the committees for this specific committee to say, in this committee, you should do this, A, B, C. The person authoring the resolution should be able to speak in that space, to comment on the resolution, talk about their resolution, explain their resolution, right? So is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing, Lou?
And I agree. I agree. I agree 100%. I feel like for tonight's purposes, let's move one step further. Let's say, okay, good, let's establish a committee. Then the committee members go back and draft like exactly what Lou is saying, whoever the team members are, and bring that back to say, here's how this committee will function. And all those are to be taken, not a bylaws, but a system of like how it will function within the council. So Elena, I know you had your hand up before. Was it related to this, or your hands are gone now?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out something that I think it will benefit us as a council, because if you notice, our recent resolutions have not been passing. So we need to do something, and this might not be it, right? Let's inspect and adapt and adjust accordingly, because we want our resolutions to be successful for the sake of the what we do as a council.
Thank you. Okay, so I would like to say, who wants to be part of the, sorry, Latifa, your hand's up, or is it all up? It's up, go ahead.
So I actually wanted to move into that part. I know you're about to ask who would like to be.
Yes.
I wanted to make some suggestions. They could obviously have the option of accepting or saying no. But I wanted to suggest 3 people to the resolutions committee. And they are.
Why don't we leave it open first, unless let people choose on their own will. Is that fair? Then we.
Can I suggest that they can always say whether yes or no? Can I?
Then what happens if the people who we didn't suggest, would they feel like they're not equally being?
No, I mean, they have the option, like you can always discuss after. I just wanted to make the suggestions I have and the reason that I suggested them.
So let me do my part first that I was gonna do, and then you can do your part when your time comes. Is that fair? Okay, okay. So who wants to be part of the resolution committee? Please unmute and say, I do. Please take notes.
I do.
Barbara.
I do.
Lou.
I do.
Elena.
I do.
Or Ted.
And shouldn't everyone be on this committee, since this is like for resolutions?
Well, Ted, let's let people choose if they want to be, right? Please. It's a committee, it's a committee, right? There's 4 people. Anyone else? Going once? Going twice?
Can I make my suggestions?
Yeah, now's the time. Now's the time. So no, hold on.
So I suggested Simone Dogback, one, because she is a new member to the council who has not yet been on committee. So this may be a good part. She has not been part of the polarizing areas of it. I suggest Rajinder Kaur, although that's not her current role. She does come with sometimes a legal background, which I think is sometimes good in the drafting of these documents. And I suggested Barbara Williams as part of the both in her role as like vice president and whatnot. And the reason I suggested these 3 people, they have not been the ones who have been most actively putting forward some of the resolutions. I'm not saying that they may not put forward some in the end, and I believe that the committee should be as neutral as possible, because you're going to have strong persons. Look, I did not nominate myself because I know I have very strong views sometimes related to that. And I think one of the ways of being able to balance and avoid, it becoming polarizing, you need a committee that is not the sponsor. The sponsor would come out and speak and present and do whatever else. And this person should be almost like, these people should be like, so that's where I come.
Thank you, Latifa. So Simone, you was going to say something?
I can be on it. I'm just observing mainly, because I don't know how you went about your resolutions before, if they were shared before, if there was any discussion before. Like, right. I have no idea how the process was before. I only have the discussion right now at the moment. So
there is no process. So this is what we're trying to do. You're in a good you're in a good place to be, because as we build this process, you'll be part of the process as setting up a process to begin with. Before I want the resolution, I write it. Hey guys, this is my resolution. Any comments? No comments in the emails. It's for vote next month. I go there, no one votes on it. It's failed. Now we are trying to create a process. So you're in a good place to be with not knowing. That's a good thing, because now you're going to be very unbiased about what to do. So, but that's totally up to you. So far we have Barbara, we have Lou, we have Ted, we have Elena, and just 4. Anyone else? Going once?
I can join.
Simone. So we have Barbara, Lou, Elena, Ted, Simone. That's 5.
I want to say something, VJ.
Well, okay. So Lou had his hand up. Look at Barbara go, because she hasn't spoken as yet. Lou, is that okay?
Yeah. Let Barbara say it first. Yeah.
Yes. Go, Barbara.
Okay. So I just want us to remember if you're gonna be on a resolution committee, you have to be as neutral as possible. I want to be in there because I know I'm never gonna write a resolution. I will give my suggestion to who's writing the resolution, but I would never write one, and you can't be biased. You have to be very neutral as possible. So make sure if you're taking on this position, you're not going to be biased, because you can't be on a resolution committee if you're coming with biasness and you're not neutral.
Thank you.
I'm just saying that to say this. Okay.
Thank you, Barbara. Lou, and then I'll be moving on. Lou.
Very practical issue. So do we have this every time we have the discussion in business meeting, or we have call a special meeting for each resolution?
We can depend. We'll form those rules, and we'll form those organizations. We can discuss that. For today's purposes, we just want to get the subcommittee going, and we'll ask for a chair now, the chair of the committee. And then from there on, we'll talk about, okay, it depends. If 1 month we have 2 resolutions, then we'll call a special meeting. And then you can invite the sponsors of each service to come in. Or if you want to call a meeting that the public are going to be present for that, then we do it that way. So maybe anything to add to that really quickly, or we good to go? Good? Yes? No, did I say, yeah. I said the correct thing?
No
Yes?
special meeting, committee meeting, resolution committee meetings. You will
There you
be
go.
noticing, the resolution committee meetings, and those.
But that
are
would be a
public.
meeting for the public to be present, correct?
That's right. Those are public meetings.
Perfect.
And you
Good.
can call those within, the same time frame. 48
Beautiful.
hours, I believe committee meetings are, speaking top of
Thank
my.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to be the chair of this committee? The chair of the resolutions committee.
Can I nominate?
You can, well, let's see somebody raise their hand. I mean, you can,
Okay.
Tell your hand is up.
I just want to make a quick comment about sort of,
Yes.
I know, we've had some controversial stuff, and we're trying to move in a different direction so that we don't get so crazy and controversial in the meetings. I think maybe in particular in a resolution committee, we kind of, need to figure out what the rules are going to be, or figure out the rules of engagement, and then kind of stick to a set of procedure and how we conduct those meetings. So that, and I think Lou mentioned that's the key to this, is having those rules of engagement. How do we actually conduct those meetings?
Right.
And then having someone who's gonna actually know the rules and follow them, by the book. So
Thank you. In all fairness to Simone, who before explained that she does not know what to do, I don't think there has to be any prior knowledge. I'm sorry. It's informed now, and then whatever rules we establish, a chair will just make sure those are abided by all committee members, and that's it. So there's no prior knowledge. So if Simone say, I want to be the chair of this committee, then she should, and then we agree to that, then she can be the chair, and then that's it. And then but then she's gonna make sure that we abide by the rules that was established by the committee. And that's all it is. That requires that. And who will agree to those committee rules? The committee members that will present those rules now to the Board of Council and say the committee suggested this. How do we agree? Then we vote. Okay, we're good. Let's do this. Just move forward. So who wants to be the chair?
All right. Since no one is taking it, I'll take it.
Yeah, I was about to nominate Barbara, so I don't know.
I want to make
Okay, that's
sure
good.
also that we also give others a chance to be chairs in the committee also. I want to elevate that. Barbara, you are an amazing chair, and I think you chaired 2 committees already. So I definitely want to suggest and encourage others to become the chairs of these committees also. Just so we can share responsibility in the council, and everyone has a space to really report and to take responsibility. Because this role, being here is not just a listen. I'm sorry, you were elected to be here and chosen to be here for a reason. So I want to nominate Simone to be the chair of the committee.
Can we be co-chairs, Barbara and I? Is that possible?
there's
Yes.
chair and vice chair.
Yeah,
Vice
chair and
chair.
vice chair.
The reason why I would Barbara let be the chair, because she has the experience. She has been on the council for several years, and she has chaired others. And I'm new, so right now I just want to observe. I don't feel confident right now. But
Would you be vice chair?
yeah, I'm happy to be a vice chair. Yeah. And to support Barbara and everything, because I agree. I don't want that she is overburdened. It's not about that I don't want to do the work. It's more like I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm still observing.
That's fine with me, Simone. We could work together.
Barbara, so I was going to ask you, are you okay with that, Barbara?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay, so we have so congratulations, everyone. We have formed our first historic resolutions committee, and we're chaired by Barbara and vice chaired by Simone. Congratulations.
Yay.
Thank you, Latifa, for your
The
contribution.
other work continues.
Vice chair in training.
Yeah. Now I am going to ask this committee to really start working via email to draft get an email in. As you all know, I am a default member of all committees, so please include me in your emails, group chat emails, and I will encourage you all to start consensus with the community, with the council, what the rules and regulations and procedures look like for this council, so we can have a draft of this for our next meeting to be adapted in terms of what this resolution committee looks like. Bibi.
I always have to say this, and I'm sorry, members, you don't like to hear this, but your communications cannot be via email when it comes to decision making, right? You have to be careful of that. You are a public body that's subject to open meetings law. And therefore, your communications that result to decisions that you make that impact the council and the community should be in a public setting.
Yes.
So first order of business for this committee will be to call a committee meeting and discuss what you would like to be the outline of how you operate or how you operationalize your structure as a new committee. Does that make sense?
Total sense.
Yes, not an email. Please.
Thank you.
Everyone has a right to hear how you make these decisions and debate.
Okay,
right?
so I will give a task. Barbara and Simone, can you please, by today is what, Thursday? By Monday, send out a date to be to Dorinda of when we can possibly have that first meeting, baby.
Correction again, please. Committee members are responsible for creating their own link for their meeting, their flyer for their meeting, noticing their meeting. That's not the AA.
Okay, great.
All right, the chair and the vice chair responsibility.
There you go, correction again. So Barbara and Simone, just reach out to, okay, reach out to oh God.
And Simone, and you thought you didn't know anything.
Reach out for guidance. Reach out for guidance on doing your thing. The point is, we want to get something going by Monday. Okay. Just
reach out to Katie. Who is Katie?
Thank you so much. So a lot of hands are up. So we have Lou, Latifa. Then we have one more item on the agenda, and then we're good. Go ahead.
Very quickly, don't forget April 15th. Right? So anything we want to have either next calendar meeting or before 15th. Otherwise, we're going to find a space to meet, right?
Of open meetings law, right?
Open meeting, yeah.
You're right. Thank you so much. And then Latifa, you go, Latifa.
Yeah, one thing, Bibi, I know you said that the committees are responsible for their own links, etc. But especially since those were like the rules before everything went virtual as well. And as a president for the last committee meetings that we had, we did have, while I was acting on the AA's part, because we used the DOE Zoom. So it was something that was put towards that, so that they didn't have to use a non
yeah, I mean,
another Zoom or whatnot. So I do think that yes, maybe they decide the when, the where, whatever it is, but I don't think that it would be out of turn to have Dorinda help set that meeting up.
So yes, I speak in broad context on regulation and guidance for the council, but of course you all are a team and you work together. But I'm giving you guidance that it's not the AA's responsibility. Committee members have to set up their meeting. They're responsible for all of the administrative tasks that follows. But I'm sure your AA can set up a meeting link and message using the listserv and do all of the
Yes.
things that the lovely AA does, but I am just telling you for
Thank you.
roles and responsibility purposes.
Thank you so
I just have a question to ask VJ before you get to the last item. Did everyone see the email that was sent out by Queens High School President's Council in concern with the open meeting law as to what was discussed on Tuesday at the legislative breakfast that Shirley and I put together? Just wanted to make sure everyone has a glimpse of it. If you didn't, I could resend it to the council members. And we're looking for your, your support on that. If you saw the email and if you didn't see the email.
Just recirculate, Barbara, and then it can be taken care of, right? Simone, your hands, and then I'm moving to the next topic, right? Simone.
I just wanted to quickly jump in. I was asked to change something. I don't know. To ask to make changes to the agenda and to remind you we met yesterday with Bibi, right? And to remind you to bring that up, but I don't know when. So I'm doing it right now, and you tell me if I should do it later.
Do it now. Go ahead.
I don't know how I would
Okay.
like to make changes to the agenda. Do I need to make a motion or something?
I'd like to make a motion to add to the agenda a discussion around reimbursements.
I'd like to make a motion to add to the agenda a discussion around reimbursements.
I second that. Anyone is not in agreement with that? Everyone's okay with that? Okay, so everyone seems to be on silent. That means they're good. Okay, so what is the item?
Um,
I'm sorry, I know what the item is, sorry.
No,
So
this is good. She's learning. This is good training. This is good.
Yes, everyone.
So this is in regards to the reimbursements, the fiscal year is ending soon, and members are being asked to submit all of their forms. Bibi has shared it via email, and to submit it as soon as possible. So yeah, that's I think all. I don't know.
Good job, very good job, Simone. That was your first action. You made a dent in the meeting. Yeah, please, folks, definitely submit your forms. Again, Dorinda can provide guidance, but you have to submit your forms to them. Don't submit them all last minute. It's not guaranteed that it will be done in time. And last year, some people also, Treasurer Luzau has to approve them and okay them, and then I approve them finally. So please submit them as soon as possible. It's a process. He reviews them, he okays them, then I sign them off. Please submit your requests. Elena.
Yes, I totally did not submit anything yet, so I am guilty. Thank you, Simone, for a reminder. That was great. That's why I had the shocked face, because like, oh my God, fiscal year is over. Really? It's April? So if somebody can bubble up the forms at the top of our mailbox, I don't know, Dorinda, if you have those, that would be great. I appreciate that.
A form was sent out recently, a fillable form. Dorinda, go ahead.
I will. I shared it today and yesterday. I'll do it again before we.
Oh, no worries. If you did it today already, then I'm just not caught up with my emails for the day yet.
I love you, Dorinda.
I wrote you a direct email, Elena, to yourself.
Oh, you did? Perfect. I guess I need to go back to check my emails.
It's not bubbling, it's boiling over now in your email box.
Thank you so much.
And guess what? It's now easier because now it's fillable. So now Bibi made it very easy where the forms are fillable, where it's all you gotta do is add your names now. So it's there. Bibi, thank you so much for doing that.
Nice, thank you.
It's bubbling over, it's filling over. Dorinda, thanks for saying historic purposes. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow too. Okay, last item. So we receive a lot of emails from the public about various things who asks us to use our listserv for from the council to send out things. I have had some reservations for the past month to send these things out, only because if we start doing it for one, we have to do it for all. And then how do we scrutinize which one is school-friendly, parent-friendly, non-religious, religious, serving a purpose, not serving a purpose? So in what we have done so far, I had asked Dorinda to reach out to our website developers and ask them to create a community page on our website where we can post all community related events on that site, and then all members can see it because our website has a lot of traffic. So when we have a targeted space for it, we can have it there. Our listserv, I'm afraid that if we keep sending out different things to our listserv, that might get lost in translation somehow when we send out meeting notices. And I really want to, my thought and idea for we had this from the beginning was to really have very purely for this. So when anyone get a meeting, an email from this listserv, they know, oh, this is for CEC meeting, something in that nature. I just want to open up the floor for 5 minutes for comments, questions, concerns, and ideas of what you think. Natifa, you're recognized.
I think having a community page is good because there's lots of things that are collaborative in there. But I just also saw it that it was a precedent set from both the previous, because I got a lot of things, especially from your organizations in the past year, and community events and whatnot. And I know there was one thing that I sent for a play, and the title has gotten it. It's not a religious thing, it's a play.
Right.
So I know there was reservations on that, and you know, it's something that they're sending out to the schools, inviting students to go because they have discount tickets and whatnot, which is right in the community at JPAC. There's absolutely nothing religious about it.
Got it. So yeah, that's what I want to say. Like, so I mean, we've received notifications about some meetings that's happening in the district from different groups in the community, right? So say, hey, can you send us all your members? We're having a meeting coming up. Can you, and then so if we send it to one, we have to do again, let's do for all, right? And I just want to make sure. So I love the ideas like what Tiffany just said, the things that really empowers kids, student friendly, things that, you know, for parents, etc. But how do we draw the line? How do we draw a line, and how do we say, do we just post it on our websites? Do we send it to parent coordinators only, or to like the school liaisons? Like, does Sonia send it out? Because what in the past, what I have done is I've sent it to Sonia and have asked Sonia, hey, do you mind sharing it with the community for me? So that way it doesn't come from the CEC, but it comes from the district office for all the schools. So that way I didn't involve the CEC in there. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, but again, whatever it is, I'm okay to go with what the council thinks. If you think we have a listserv, we should use it, let's use it. But then we have to support everybody and then send out everything. What are your thoughts? Ted.
I mean, I definitely see both sides of this. I mean, I've seen councils that just send out tons of emails from every single group. But I've also seen right here in our own district that like you send the wrong thing out or something somebody doesn't like, and it just generates all kinds of rage at the CEC. So I think it's not an invalid concern to have. And but I honestly don't know what the right way is to handle it.
So do we think going forward for now, the fact that we have a community page, and then we can promote this, right, at our meetings, that, hey, for all upcoming community events and all things, hey, community, you have something happening, send it to us, and we'll have it posted. You know, of course, we'll have to monitor that and make sure if it's been passed already, it's down, and only have month by month, you know, like what's happening month by month. You think that's a good solution for now, like a good place to be, just to have a community page? Simone, your hands up.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. I think this is very good.
And that way it's not biased. That way we can actually put up, they say, we're in April now, and May we can have 2 months at a time. So everything for April, put it up. Everything for May, put it up. So the community can go there and say, what's happening in the district? That'd be great. And also Sonia also sends out a whole bunch of stuff too, like what's happening on the weekends. In the district, it would be nice to also post that over the. All right, so does anyone else have anything to add to that, or can I move on?
We just have to know that when someone sent you an email draft, you don't send it out. And if you're sending an email, if you're resending an email, you take people's information off of it, because I know it happened where, you know, an email was sent out and someone keeps sending emails in people's private server, and that creates a problem. So you have to know that you're taking people's information if you're going to resend email out, and don't send
Makes
email to
sense.
someone sent you a draft unless they ask you to send it out.
Sounds good.
The community thing is, you know, it's good because at
Yeah,
least, you know, nobody gets in trouble for that.
Yeah, we'll just post a flyer. So we're not gonna take, so what I don't think we're gonna do is, we're not gonna take someone's like message from an email and say, post that on the website. No, I'm sorry. Like, it should be a flyer, an event happening in a flyer case. That is what we should post. You all okay with that, everyone? When it comes to DOE updates and CCHS and CEC, that's different. This is community activity stuff. If you have a flyer, it gets qualified. It goes up over the air.
I agree with
whatever it is. Simone?
Yeah.
You said that you would like to have like a monthly event page for the community. Would it be possible at the beginning of the month to send out an email with all of the events? Like just
What if
once
it
a month
changes?
at the very.
What if we don't make it by, if we send something out the first day of the month and then we miss something? I'm just trying to think about how could our AA, what work it will take us to do that, to keep track of all that stuff. I hope she missed somebody, didn't miss someone. What are your thoughts, Simone?
I mean,
Done? Submit.
I could help with that. That's not. I've been sending out emails for the PTA on a weekly basis with all of the events going on in the district.
But again, do we want to send out to everybody? Like, my only
no, just like one. No, I was just thinking just to make it easier, because not everybody goes to our website, and if they receive like once a month, like maybe before the CEC meeting or together with the CEC meeting. By the way, these are the community events in our district for this month, and I'm happy to help you, Dorinda. It's to collect it. I can go to the website and I collect it, and I send you a draft, and you can attach it to the email so that it's not extra work for you.
Okay, thank you. Latifa, we'll explore the idea, right? So thank you, Simone, Latifa, and Elena.
So I suggest if we're gonna do the community page, since people may send out their events at multiple times during the month, similar to what Simone is saying, when you're sending out the monthly meeting invites, just a link to where the community page is. CC 28 is happy to put that in there, and so you're not listing the actual events. Whenever they go to the page, they will find the most likely, because one of the things, Simone, is that when people email it, then Dorinda can forward those things to be uploaded to our webmaster and put it on there. So you're never sending like a static list. They will just get whatever was most recently updated. When they go there is what is there. So
I like that. We can say, like, you know, for community events, click here.
Yeah, something like that.
Click here. There it is. That way, is one click is uploaded there. Okay, Simone's agreed. So I think let's move on to now. It's 9:27. I want to end this meeting by 9:30. So I think we're doing great. Does any old business, anyone? Going once. Please put back the minutes for next month again, right? We have to do that. Latifa, yes.
You said that you were going to, I guess, debrief the breakfast.
Oh, yes. That's it. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, that's all business, right? That's it. That's all business. Yeah. So that's all business. So I'm gonna give everyone half a minute, so we just be fair to everybody, right? Because we don't be long, right? To like what worked really well, and where we can improve. Just one thing, and please be nice, right? Don't get too harsh, please. It's late. So yeah, what worked, and maybe there's no improvements. Maybe we just keep the good work up, you know, to the committee. So first of all, Dorinda, again, thank you. This was your first big mission from the mayor's office. No, I'm joking. And you did a great job. Thank you for your patience, and you were really on top of the electeds and really getting it done and really keeping a nice flow sheet. Baby, thank you for, of course, a lot of your guidance to helping our AA to on board. And this takes a lot of process from behind the scenes that many don't see. The flowers is the least that we can do, BB, but thank you so much for doing a lot of the stuff you do. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I'm in trouble
Why?
because Effie just sent an email requesting all of what you did to help guide his legislative breakfast.
No comments.
I know this is Elena. Elena is gonna be.
No comments. So I will go down the list. Barbara Williams, I'm gonna give each of you, please, 30, like half a minute, right? Please. Barbara Williams, thoughts?
My thoughts is we should wrap this up. I'm hungry.
Thank you. Ted Chang.
No, it was fun. It was kind of it was like the first party I'd been to in like 2 years. So, I didn't know what it was going to be, but once I was like, oh, this is a party, then I was like, okay, I'm going to go socialize now. So it was fun.
You stood
Great
at the door
colors.
the whole time. You were security, Ted.
Thank you. Great color suit, Ted. Latifa.
I think it was great.
Thank you so much. Luzao.
There's a lot, everything is good, so I don't have to repeat that. But one thing I want to mention is the sign-in sheet. I think maybe next time we should make the sign-in sheet just simply alphabetic. It took a lot of time. People say, oh, which one is mine, and where's fun. So a little bit of headache there. Yep.
Or I would say let us vote to invest on an iPad with Wi-Fi for the field. So that way, that way they come in there, they just click, and they go. I mean, this is technology. Let's do it the right way. Less paperwork. One iPad, one sheet. Click. You're here. Thank you so much. Dorinda, you agree? Yes. Thank you. Okay. Good point, Lou. Next we have is Nancy Lugasi. Oh, Nancy, we missed you.
I know, I'm back, sort of. Honestly, like I'm good with everything that we said, and I just, I want to wrap this up and move on to the next thing.
Thank you. Next is Elena Aminova.
It was great. It was great to see people in person, and I think we should do more of these, for sure. That's one improvement, I guess. Thank you.
More food. Rajwinder Kaur.
It was wonderful, get together and everything. It was like, I enjoyed it. But one thing was missing, the vegetarian food. There was no food for me, just the fruits. That's it. And the other, the sandwiches were barbecue sandwiches. I did bring it home, but nobody ate it. So another, adding to Lou, not Zoo, sorry, the name tags.
Yes. So
the solid name tags.
So let's invest in some, what are those things called? Keychain hangers? No, there's a name for it. The thing that hangs around your neck.
Lanyards.
I almost said leotards. No, lanyards. Okay. Lanyards. Like what? No, that's the wrong word. Okay. That. So let's get some of those with the name tags, and we can make those nice and pretty for us. Or even know what over here on top. Simone.
I loved it. I thought wonderful teamwork. It was just, yeah, I thought it was really nice to see you all. And I agree. I probably think, I think we should probably have like 2 tables next time. One to sign in and just like Lou said, with an ABC order, and another table that are only for the name tags, lanyards, or whatever we choose to take. Lanyards. So that there is not, and so that the crowd gets a little bit dispersed. Yes. Because there was a lot at the entry, but otherwise it was perfect.
Thank you. Cassandra is not here, and Shaliza is not here, right? I'm not missing anyone. So my feedback is, wow, for the first time ever, never doing this before for the council, we did A+++. I feel everyone here, we're going to start in November to plan for our next breakfast. So every year, let's aim. So Dorinda, we got some feedback from the electeds about when they're going to be in Albany. We want to make do the time when they're not going to be in Albany, so they can actually be here. So Dorinda, in November, you're going to start reaching out to people. You and I can talk about who to reach out to find out about the calendar, and then that way we can plan around that. So members, think about if you want to be in the committee about the planning for the next breakfast and how we can do that. Latifa?
one more thing, VJ. I gave Natifa the rest of the certificate that was handed to me.
I
So I
have
don't
it.
know if you could work with her to put them in the mail and send them out to the members that wasn't there.
Yes, I was gonna get that to them in person when we see each other. I have one. So Nancy, there's a certificate of appreciation from the district office for you. One for Cassandra, one for Shaliza, who was not there, and I'll get that to you all when I see you. Those things get damaged in the mail a lot of times. Natifa?
As a follow-up, I forgot who was the person who gave it as part of the feedback, the suggestion to have a similar one for parent leaders in the district.
I like that. Well, think about it. Let's put, so that's new business. Can you put that for new business, please, Dorinda? New business is that. And one of the new business also is end of year celebration.
Yes.
The end of year celebration, the council always hosts that, and we always get the schools to get involved. So next meeting, if you want to be part of the committee, get ideas. Last thing is I'm working with Dorinda to get certificates organized from the council. So my idea is that the CEC gonna reach out to all the principals and say, hey, what kind of certificates do you want for your graduates? Like for this attendance, but not only things like academic but other things that we do always sometimes don't think about. But the schools will let us know, or parent coordinators, and I'm thinking that each council member, if you're available, can attend the graduation of your school that you're liaison with, and then you can go and actually present the certificate or the award to the graduates as.
Good night, Elena.
Are you okay? Are you okay with that? Yes, no, we okay with that? So
yeah, that sounds good. That sounds, if we can make it.
if you can't make it, then you can say, hey, my school has graduation next week. Can anyone from the council go? I'll go, or somebody else can go. More than one of us can go, and we can support that school and doing that. If none of us can go, we just give it to them, and then they'll give it to the kids on behalf of the CEC. So that way the CEC has a very prominent point in the lives of these children and their families also. Simone, do you have schools assigned to you as yet? No.
Yes, I do have two schools. I have Halsey, and I think it's PS 80 or 82 in Jamaica. It's an
Okay, so
elementary
we'll
school.
talk offline about schools and liaison with schools, so we can get you acquainted with that. Again, anyone who wants to go visit the school or in person or anything like that, just definitely reach out to the AA so she can schedule with the school an appointment with you. Please don't reach out to the schools directly. We have a system in place that is done that way to have it done. It's the time now is 9:37. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all so much. And
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Dorinda, you can end the
Good
meeting.
night, everyone. Happy